live.
All right. Saturday morning. I'm like waiting for the time that I get so involved in that song I let it play. Then we really will get a strike.
Yeah, we really would. I actually had to. I was actually watching you and waiting for you to say something because I actually couldn't hear it on my end this morning. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I was like, I'm gonna have to sit here and wait to know when to know when to actually cue in because I couldn't hear it in my headphones.
Oh, well, that's not good. Hopefully, it wasn't just heard it on my end because then I should not be the only one enjoying it.
Well, that's definitely true. I mean, that's too good of a song for people not to take part in. So, even though, like you said, we're not allowed to play the whole thing. Hell, we're not allowed. We're technically not allowed to play the clip that we do because Sony bitches about it every week. So
well, not Sony doesn't bitch.
Facebook does.
Yeah,
Facebook does.
Sony obviously don't give a shit because they keep releasing it.
That's right. That's true.
You're like, leave those guys alone, man. Fuck, they're playing. They're getting us plays. So
yeah, that's true.
So welcome everybody to Saturday morning edition. Back on track. If you joined us last night, thank you. And if you didn't and you missed it, then it's you can go back to YouTube or whatever, Facebook, Twitch, all that good stuff, and check it out. Did an interview with Vinny Carrion from the lead vocalist and guitarist for a band called Ashes Rain out of Central Virginia, and we appreciate Vinny taking his time with us last night, and it wound up going a pretty good way. I was like, man, I think we could have probably went 4 or 5 hours with
we
Vinny.
probably
it was like, I was so surprised at how easy these conversations are a lot of times, and I think it's because it doesn't seem like an interview. You know what I mean? It's like,
right.
It's more of three people that love metal just chatting and talking, which is, it's kind of what we wanted it to be. We didn't want it to feel like words. I mean,
yeah, we didn't want any of these interview segments to be so fragmented and rigid and everything else. It was like, all right, question, answer. All right, cool. Next question, next answer. So we just kind of keep it laid back.
Because I mean, it's a platform. It was a platform, for the band to promote themselves, and and that's not. To me, if I ask him all these, normal questions, and that's not really him promoting himself. It's, we don't, he went really in depth on the way they record and all that. And I thought that was really cool, and I think it's cool to hear that from different bands and how different they are with how they record. That's all pretty awesome, I think. But it's just like when I know you've seen that post where I was at Blue Ridge and they had this over the drum kit cam on the main stages, and I thought, dude, I wish they had that on all the stages because I thought that was so cool to see, like, down and see what the kit actually looked like, from up there, and how different each band's kit was, and you could kind of like realize why, it makes you realize why these bands sound so different because they don't have the same setup. So it took me a long time to realize that people were bands were going out switching out their guitars and stuff. Well, it's because they were playing songs off of different albums that were differently tuned, and then it's kind of like I never knew that. I thought, oh, he just wants to play it because it looks cool or whatever. But and then once I got older and realized that, I was like, that's pretty awesome. Is because they do it because that's how it's tuned for that, for the songs from that album. So
Yeah. Well, I'm sure there's a little part of it. Knowing some of these, the way guitar players are, I know there's probably a little bit of it. I was like, yeah, I want to play this one because it looks cool. I'm sure there's a little
Right.
bit of that to it. But like when we were up in Nashville last Friday, watching the bands up on stage. I mean, Kayla and I were talking about it on the way home. Just talking about some of the awesome gear that these guys play. Gary Holt had that one guitar that had the little badge on it that said Officer Holt.
Oh yeah.
And then Exodus bass player, he had that completely clear acrylic bass that he was playing. So there's some really cool gear up on stage. So I'm sure that's a little bit of it, but yeah, they tune each guitar based on the songs they're playing. But I'm sure the aesthetic aspect of it is still in there somewhere, but
Hey, sorry, give me just a second. I did not. I printed out my notes, but I didn't take them off the printer. So give me just a second.
Nice. It's actually kind of funny that he mentions that because I was sitting here, I was sitting here pre-show, and I was like, all right, I got all my hitting the road stuff up to date. I got all of my This Week in Metal History up to date. I said, everything's ready to roll. Everything's updated. I looked down. I was like, fuck, where's my top 10? Where's my album review? They were still out in the truck from where I printed them off at work. So I had to run downstairs to the garage real quick to get everything. So I have my complete set of show notes up here. Obviously, all of my, as you guys probably know by now, I've got all my news stories for the current events segment on my phone. So I just read them off of that. So I could print them all out, but the printer that we've got here at the house isn't working at the moment, and I don't want to get caught doing too much personal printing at work because I don't know if they would frown on that or what. So I don't do nearly as much personal. I don't do a whole lot of personal printing at work, So not that big a deal. But I did print off a couple of things, and I almost forgot to bring them upstairs with me, so I almost ended up having to do what Jason just did. So, but there he comes. Hey,
Vinny, if you're watching, I swear to God, we're more prepared than this.
Yeah, we had
technical difficulties last night, and now this like that.
Yeah, we had about a 20-minute delay last night with the interview we had with Vinny, but but we usually are more put together than this.
Well, it is what it is, I guess.
But again, that's why we like that. That's what we talk about when we talk about how we actually do like doing the show live, because I mean, even when we do have little issues like this, it adds a little bit of authenticity, and hell, a little bit of comic relief, I guess, to the show. People can at least sit there and laugh at us a little bit. So
I see your Slipknot shirt. So how was the show?
Yep, I got had new tour, new shirt, of course. So the show was, in case anybody doesn't know, the Knotfest 2022 came to Bridgestone Arena up in Nashville, and the show was this past Tuesday night. You had Crown the Empire, Ice Nine Kills, and of course, the headliner was Slipknot. It was actually a really good show. We weren't we weren't down on the floor right up against the barricade for this one like we were for Testament. Obviously, Bridgestone Arena is a much bigger venue, that goes without saying.
Mm-hmm.
But so we basically had the same seats that we did when you and I when we went to the Megadeth concert back in May.
Okay.
We were still in the same section. We were still in 101, but we were maybe about 10 rows a little further down. So we were a little bit closer to this, what would have been the ice surface if the hockey rink would have been installed. But
I think that section of the arena is a really good viewpoint, though.
Oh, we had a fantastic, just a straight on eye line right to the stage. And the setups were amazing. I mean, Crown the Empire, they were only on stage for about 30, maybe 35 minutes. They played 5 or 6 songs. So it wasn't like the longest set, but
right.
According to, and honestly, I really don't know a whole lot about. I really don't know a whole lot about Crown the Empire. I've never really. I mean, I've heard of them, but I've never really heard any of their stuff. So, so I'm not even really. I'm not super knowledgeable about the band, and I don't know the name of the singer, but he had said at the beginning of their set after they played like the first song, he introduced the band and everything, and said that show in Nashville was the first time they had ever played a stadium. So that was kind of interesting to know that was the first time they played a stadium. So, and I mean, they performed really well. They sounded really good. They sounded really like a cohesive unit. They apparently they have a relatively new drummer too, according to what the singer was talking about. But even having said that, they did sound really good. So I don't know how long that drummer has been with them, but didn't really seem to be an issue. But so I don't know if the fact that was their first time playing a stadium affected them at all. It didn't really affect the musical performance, but it did kind of seem like the vocalist was a little nervous when he was like addressing the crowd in between songs. I don't know. He seemed a little apprehensive, but as far as the musical performance goes, they did a good job. It was a pretty high energy set. They were jumping around on stage and all that good stuff. Had a little bit of the crowd interacting with them. They had a small pit that had formed down in the GA section right there in front. So they got a little bit of relatively decent feedback from the crowd. And then, obviously the band you really, really like this was my first time seeing them was Ice Nine Kills. And I know of some of their songs through you, but I don't think I've ever really listened to one of their albums all the way through. But Kayla was a huge fan. So she was super duper excited to see them. And they put on a hell of a show. They really did. I was unaware of how many members in that band actually contribute to the vocals. There's like, you got the lead singer, and like I say, I'm not 100% sure what his name is. I know you know his name, but
Spencer Charnas, yeah.
That's right, yeah. So while Spencer's running around on stage and putting on the different costumes and everything based on what song they were playing, he's up there, either getting dressed or he's actually acting out, because they had the song Flower Scene, they had the song about they had the song based on American Psycho, and then
I'm sure they did.
So he
I'm sure they did American Nightmare.
They did American Nightmare towards the end of the set,
and then
yeah, they did that one. So they had a video screen in the back that would have a marquee, like a theater marquee on it, and it would say now playing, and then whatever song they were playing next. And then when the song would kick in, there would be all sorts of like little video vignettes and stuff like that they would put together, with themes based on whatever song they were playing and stuff like that. So, and then like I say, they had characters come on stage that he would kill and disembowel or behead or whatever. And then they had the shower scene song. They had a little they had the little shower curtain with the silhouette behind it, so he was pantomiming that whole scene and everything. So I mean the musical performance was really well done, but the fact that they had the stage show that they had and the whole setup that they had was cool too. And like I say, I didn't realize because he's like Spencer, he's running around doing all that shit, and all three of the guitar players are adding vocals to it while the drummer's just back there going insane. So I really liked the whole presentation of their set.
Yeah, I want to say that the Joe is the one that does the deep stuff. I can't remember, but I think that's the one, the bass player. I think he's the one that does the deeper stuff. But
yeah, he seemed the bass player did seem to be doing the bulk of the complimentary vocals. The other guitar players, they were getting up there and they were singing it at certain spots. But yeah, the bass player was doing the bulk of the quote unquote the backing vocals and all that stuff. So, but I was actually pretty impressed with the entire setup that they had going on. I don't know how the hell they were dressed like that. I would have sweat to death if I would have worn what they were wearing up on stage. They were basically all, collared long sleeve shirts, suspenders and slacks and ties and all that shit. So, I mean, they were like completely dressed up. I don't know how they didn't stifle. I would have fucking probably sweat to death if that was me. But then, and of course, when Slipknot got up there, I mean, this is the fifth time I've seen Slipknot, and they just keep, to me, they just keep getting better every time I see them live, you know. So obviously they've been doing this a long time. They've been doing this for 23 years, technically even longer than that. Cause I mean, eat, mate, kill, repeat, or whatever the hell their demo is called. I can never get the album title right without staring at it. But that one came out in 97. Of course, that was before, you know,
Right.
Corey Taylor even joined the band. So, you know, but Slipknot, as we know, it's been around for 23 years. And like I say, I've seen them 5 times. So, I mean, they just keep getting better and better. And, you know, they've got Jay Weinberg in the band now, and no disrespect at all to Joey Jordison, but Jay Weinberg is a phenomenal drummer.
Yeah.
It was insane to listen to him play and to watch. Couldn't exactly like watch him in great detail because I was literally across the arena from him, but just listening to him play is unbelievable. And you know, everybody sounded good. Corey sounded great.
What was so crazy about the drum was like they had an overhead cam at Blue Ridge of his drum kit too, and like they couldn't even get it all in the shot. So his shit's massive, dude. It's like
his drum rig is ridiculous. So, but
probably cost them more than everything they have.
Probably, but I mean, just you know, you get the performance you expect from Slipknot. You get, I mean, just the intensity, the energy. You know, you got Sid Wilson just running around like a madman on stage, and he's got that animatronic head that he's got now, that he's got his old mask on. So he's like running around on stage, and he's carrying that little animatronic head, and he's like standing at the edge of the stage and shit like that. And you know, the animatronic head is singing along with the song and all that stuff. You know, Jim Root is I think an underappreciated guitar player for as talented as he is. You know, and then you know you got Clown, and I mean just the whole stage setup is ridiculous. So I mean, you listen to Corey sing, and like I say, he sounded fantastic, and with just the amount of energy he gives off. But there is so much going on. You don't have to just like listen to Corey or watch James Root when he's you know, playing a solo. There's so much stuff going on. You know, there's fire and there's pyro and all that stuff. And then you got Clown, you know, bouncing around on stage. You know, during Duality, you know, everyone knows during Duality he beats on a keg. Well, this time he lit his bat on fire and was beating on the keg with a bat on fire. You know, so
they did that at Louder in Life too.
Yeah, you know, so I do appreciate the fact that you get something visual to go along with the audio. You know, it adds to the experience of going to see them live, and I'll go see them live whenever I can. Just they're that good on stage, you know. So I don't really have anything bad to say about it. You know, I like watching shows at Bridgestone. They have it set up really, really well, you know, and I've been to, I don't even know how many concerts I've been to at that arena, and I haven't had a bad view of a concert any time that I've been there. And I've had some seats, you know, back up in the, you know, the back of the 200 level, because they don't have the 300 level open for the concerts. They drape that off just so, you know, so it's just the 100 and 200 level. So I mean, I've had seats in the 200 level, and you still had a great you know, sight line. So I haven't had a bad experience at that arena, you know, for a live show. So it was, you know, Kayla and I, we had a great time. And I know she actually may have had a better time than me, because she was so jacked to see Ice Nine Kills, you know, and she had never seen Slipknot before. So I think she had a better time than I did.
So was that the first time she had seen both of those bands, or?
Yep, first time for both.
Oh, so,
that was my first time seeing Ice Nine. Oh, she was jacked, man. She was so excited. She was so excited.
That's so cool.
So, yeah. So it's been a fun, you know, last week for her and I. You know, we got to see the 2 shows together. So yeah, it was nice.
Yeah. Then we got a big one next week. So
yeah, we do.
Yeah. So we finally getting to see Angelus at Patritas. So
yes.
So it's going to be a pretty good.
Going on a little bit of a roadie to head out there. So yeah.
Well, I mean, like I say, you know, I wish we could have went to the Nashville one, but it was kind of I was already out of town, and I think you had something going on too that week, so it was kind of kind of out of reach. I wish, like I said, I kind of wish it was because it'd been a lot closer, but. It is what it is. I'm going to drive up there and drive back, and then come in and do the show the next morning is going to be kind of rough. But
I was actually thinking about that. Next Saturday morning show is going to be interesting because I mean it takes a few hours to get back from Knoxville, and then we're going to have to turn around and do the show. So we just a little bit of a forewarning now. We may be dragging ass just a little bit, but we will be on time. But I can't promise we're going to be 100% awake.
Yeah, we'll be like the old crank record players that kind of run out of steam at the end, of the crank.
Yeah, you're right. We might, but there will be a show next Saturday.
I wish we could go back and take out the noises that's been made on this show throughout the last year and a half. Even last night, Vinny made that noise. When I can't remember what he was talking about, but he had me tripping because he just kind of made this noise, and I was like, "Oh wow, it's funny as shit." But wild stuff, man. Cool, man. So glad you got to experience that. I would have went to that too, but like I said, I seen all that was at Blue Ridge, so the whole tour was there, so it wasn't really much. I mean, you probably seen more than I did, of course, because they get more stage time doing stuff like that. But so it was pretty cool. All right, I guess we will jump into this thing this morning. Jump into these birthdays here from the 18th through the 24th. September 18th, we had Charles Hedger, guitarist for Cradle of Filth. September 19th, we had Lita Ford, guitarist and vocalist, of course, for her own band, Lita Ford. And, of course, if you go way back from the Runaways. So
way back.
Yeah, that's way back. That's way back before our time. But then we had Jimmy Bauer, a guitarist and drummer for Down and I Hate God. We had Tapio Wilska, Finnish singer from Sethion. So if I want to make sure I put that finish in there, so if I fucked up, people know why. So
right.
September 20th, we had Randy Bradbury, bassist for Pennywise, Nuno Betancourt, guitarist for Extreme, Ben Shepard, bassist for Soundgarden, Gunnar and Matthew Nelson, of course, guitarist and vocals for Nelson. One's bass, one's lead guitarist. I can't remember which is which, but they are twin brothers, and actually their dad was Ricky Nelson, which was also a rock singer back in probably the early 80s, maybe late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah, somewhere around there. I think.
Yeah, I can't remember. Maybe earlier than that. Yeah,
I was about to say may have actually gone back a little further than that. I don't know.
Because they were late 80s, so yeah, it probably was. It was probably I think he passed away in the early 80s, maybe. So
yeah.
So and then we had Chuck Panazzo, bassist for Styx, and then we had John Panazzo, drummer for Styx. Of course, he passed away in 1996. September 21st, we had Filthy Animal, Phil Taylor, drummer for Motorhead. Of course, he passed away in 2015. Marcus Grosskopf, a bassist, singer, and songwriter for Halloween. We had David Silveria, drummer for Korn, and of course, now with the font, you can write that R backwards, which is pretty awesome. But so if you don't know that, you can do that. So,
we reported on that here.
Yeah, sure did. So then we had September 22nd, we had David Coverdale, singer for Whitesnake and Deep Purple. We had Joan Jett, singer for, of course, Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. And, of course, she was also in the Runaways, which is kind of crazy that they had a birthday that close together. It's pretty cool. We had Jesse James Dupree, singer and songwriter and guitarist for Jackal. We had Mark Torian, vocalist for the Bullet Boys. What? So then we had Doug Wimbish, bassist for Living Color. September 23rd, Neil Smith, drummer for Alice Cooper. And then we had D-Rock, the Executioner. Of course, the real name is Dennis Miles. He was a rhythm guitarist for Body Count, who passed away in 2004. September 24th, today we had Sean McNabb, bassist for Quiet Riot, Great White, Rough Cut, and House of Lords. So he's been a pretty good bit of bands that are well known. And then, of course,
Yep.
we had Sean Clown Crahan, percussionist for Slipknot. So
There we go.
So happy birthday to all of those. And if I missed anybody, I apologize. And if anybody out there has a birthday today, happy birthday to you as well. So
Absolutely.
So it was a pretty big list this week. A lot of 80s hair metal love too. So.
I was just about to say that very thing. Yeah. Yep.
I was
just
going through there, and I'm like, wow, that's a lot of hair metal bands in here. But
yeah. Yes, it is.
But they paved the way. So there you go.
Yeah. It's all got to start somewhere. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. But happy birthday to everybody. Yes. Absolutely.
All right, so we'll kick into some news for the week.
Yeah, we had quite, between the two of us, we got quite a bit of stuff to get through today. So unfortunately, we weren't able to make it through another week without having a report on a passing, and so we'll lead off with that over at blabbermouth.net. Lead vocalist Gord Kirchen of the Canadian cult metal death band Piledriver has died after a battle with lung cancer. He was 60 years old. Gord's passing was confirmed by his sister Tina, who took to her social media to write, quote, "Before I got to the hospital, he played 2 songs for me on Sirius XM, Home Sweet Home, I'm on my way, please set me free, Home Sweet Home, and of course Kiss, Rock and Roll All Night. I know for a fact he sent me that message. He passed while I was on my way. I'm heartbroken, so heartbroken, but I know he will be playing music with all his idols over there, namely Frank Zappa. I will miss him immensely. The laughs, his nickname for me, the silliness, his mind-blowing musical talent. He called me his mini-me. A close friend of his made this Piledriver poster, see below, and I'll put that up there for you guys. So grateful to every one of his friends and fans. You kept him going for as long as he could. Rest in power, Gordy. Teener will see you again. Please give mom and dad a hug and kiss for me." End quote. Less than 3 weeks ago, Kirchen took to his social media to say that he had completed the last round of chemo following his diagnosis. At the time, he wrote that, quote, "It has been a brutal chemical battle," adding that chemo really sucks. He said that the plan was to go through 3 weeks of horrid yuck from its side effects. Then in 6 weeks, we can scan to see if we got it all. Elaborating on the health issues that he had dealt with as a result of his cancer battle, Gord said, quote, "I'm not without my battle scars to carry for the rest of my days. Severe scarring in the lungs from the initial infection on top of the scarring from radiation, and it's severely reducing my oxygen uptake, leaving me gasping after even light exertion, and the radiation damage to my esophagus, windpipe, and throat, possibly ending my live singing career. So gonna have to shift gears on purpose. Anyone need mixing, mastering, turd polishing done? I'm your old school man." He went on to say, "The crux of the biscuit is I'm still alive. I'm still here. I'm vertical and mobile. I've still got some great living to do. Let's get past the next 8 to 10 weeks of recovery and get back to living. Fuck cancer," end quote. And yes, we've said fuck cancer on the show. I don't know how many times. Yeah. Since its original release in 1984, Piledriver's debut album, Metal Inquisition, has found a legion of fans worldwide over successive generations and spanning all stripes of metal. In an interview with Metallian in 2008, Kirchen spoke about how the idea for Piledriver came about. He said, quote, "Leslie Howe, I played with him in a bar band at some point back in the 80s. It was called Mainstream. It was just a cover band doing bar gigs. I eventually left that band to play in Fist with Ron Chenier, and then I went on to play with Brian Greenway." Almost said Barney Greenway. Not that. It's a different guy. "I was on the road and I got a phone call from Leslie Howe stating that he was working on a heavy metal recording project that would not have a band, but they needed a really heavy voice, and he remembered me from being in the band and having the heavy vocals. I said, yes, as soon as I am off this tour, I'd be glad to do it. I got home to Ottawa and in 2 days sang the vocals. It was just to go out there and make a little bit of money for Leslie and this record weasel. What happened was it got huge. They didn't expect it to get huge," end quote. The music on Metal Inquisition was written by Howe, pseudonym Bud Slaker, and Rennie, pseudonym Sal Gibson, both of whom would go on to work with a young Alanis Morissette. So I'm not done yet. Hang on. I got blocked by an ad. Quote, "When I came into the project and I heard the quality of these songs, I really put 110% into singing it because I was young," Kirchen remembered. "I was 23 years old. It was my first shot and my first chance on being on an album. What did I care if I wasn't actually going to be a band or anything? My vocals would be out there, and I thought it would move me on to a more legitimate project, like somebody would plug me if they liked my vocals. But it went out unheralded and accidentally turned into a huge thing, basically because of the quality of the music. End quote. In addition to handling lead vocals on the record, Carrion became Piledriver, so eloquently depicted on the album's cover art. Piledriver's physicality could be fiercely felt in the searing buzzsaw guitars and generous bottom end, making the album one of the heaviest of the era. And of course, the songs. Each one's an anthem, as addicting as the last, with bangers Sex with Satan, later covered by Marduk, Piledriver, and the title track Metal Inquisition, being stone cold classics every true metalhead must know. And then here is, to save time, there's that poster.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so so yeah, cancer sucks, and even at 60 years old, I still think that's way too soon to be gone. But I mean, that guy definitely made his mark. That is definitely not going to go away anytime soon. So definitely, our thoughts go out to his family, especially his daughter. So
yeah. Oh man, that's that stuff. Like I said, we always hate starting out the show that way, but unfortunately, it's news is news, whether it's good or bad. Unfortunately, so
yeah, it's all part of it.
Well, I'll try to lighten it up here a little bit. So, from over at Loudwire, congratulations are in order to Hollywood Undead, who have just been awarded new platinum and gold certifications for a total of 11 songs by the RIAA, Recording Industry Association of America. The certifications were dated for September 19th. The band's songs, City, Young, Black Dahlia, and Number 5 from their 2008 album Swan Songs, Coming In Hot, Hear Me Now, and Bullet from 2011's American Tragedy, We Are from 2012's Notes from the Underground, and Day of the Dead from their 2015 album of the same name were all given the Gold Awards, while 2008's Undead and Everywhere I Go received the Platinum title. Prior to this week, they only had one gold and one platinum certification from 2017 for the songs American Tragedy in 2011 and Swan Song in 2008. A gold certification indicates 500,000 units moved. The platinum is for songs and albums that have pushed 1 million units. Downloads and streaming are accounted for in those calculations. 10 downloads count as a unit, and 1,500 streams equal a unit as well. Which is, I
think that's kind of unfair that you got to.
It is. It's like, a stream is a stream. Like, it's like whatever. Especially if it's listened to all the way through. You know what I mean? It's like, I could get it if it was kind of like, we listen to the first part of it and then like, fuck it. But if it's listened to all the way through, it should count way more than that.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
The Rap Rockers released a string of singles throughout 2022, starting with the Aggressive Chaos, and then unveiled their 8th studio album, Hotel California, on August 12th. Quote, we were in a world of shit, vocalist Johnny Three Tears shared of the album. The opportunities for failure were far more prevalent than the opportunities for success. We were hanging out with gangbangers and drug dealers. The chances of overcoming were very slim. We made something special together because of the heartbreak and heartache that all came from our experiences. It's we're talking about California, so I mean that's probably everyday life out there, but
in a lot of parts of it, from what I hear.
Yeah, but so congratulations to them. 11 songs is kind of unreal, man. That's we were talking about that yesterday when I showed you that, and you were like, "Wow, 11 songs."
That's good for them. Yeah,
yes. I mean, take what we can get. Rap, metal, whatever metal gets the genre going. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, congratulations to them on all those certifications, man. Keep that shit rolling along. Yeah, I know Tyler is a huge fan of theirs. So
yeah, like I said, I'm not like a huge fan, but like there are some stuff I can get into, but there's also some stuff that he listens to, and it's like, dude, that's not good. but I mean, that's the good thing about metal. It's like we're, like I say, we're not death metal fans, but there's a lot of death metal. And honestly, if you're a death metal fan, this has been your fucking year because there is so many death metal albums that came out this year. And I've actually, I powered through a few of them, but
there's been some that I've enjoyed.
It's just not my, it's just not my cup of tea. It's not my go-to. Not going to say if a death metal band wanted to come on a show and promote their shit, I'm not going to tell them no because that's what we're here for.
Oh, of course not.
and they would have to talk all the time because I wouldn't know much to talk about with them about them. But I mean, that's fine. Like I said, that's what we built this thing to promote all genres. So
that's right.
Of metal, even if we dislike it, that's not the point. So
right. Yeah, we've said that plenty of times that we're not necessarily death metal fans per se, but there are some bands that I will listen to, but again, to reiterate what Jason said, it's not exactly the subgenre we gravitate toward primarily, but we're never going to turn anybody down who wants to come on and promote their project. And we even said that once we get the show up and running where we're actually going to be able to play music, we'll play anything that anyone wants to hear. We'll play anything from Kiss to fucking Behemoth and everything in between. Anything that anyone wants to hear, we're going to play it because, obviously we have the stuff that we want to hear, but we want to put the music out that we're going to want to play the music that you guys don't want to listen. We will not,
because we've talked about the radio stations, not, they're just out for whatever the sponsors want them to play because that's who's paying them to spin the tables or whatever. But with this, if we're doing this on our own, we want it to be a fan based thing. So we want the fans of the music to be able to say, hey, I'd like to hear this played on a radio station, and even though it's an internet radio station, it shouldn't matter. I mean, it's still something you want, and if that's the case, you'll tune in all the time. So it's kind of like, it's pretty much, kind of for the people, by the people radio,
exactly.
Which is kind of what people are all about anyway. So,
yeah, exactly. So, yeah. I mean, it's really just that simple, of how we want it to be set up. So, I mean, and we have all the control over it. So, I mean, I don't see any reason why we wouldn't be able to do that. So,
yeah, I don't want to call in and be like, hey, I'd like to hear that Fozzy Judas song, and they're like, oh, I think I got it around here somewhere, and like, that still pisses me off to this day. It's like, oh, I still have it around here. So, motherfucker, we're in a digital age. You're like, you got to look for a fucking CD.
Yeah. No, that's not really an issue anymore. But we don't need to. We've talked about the local rock station enough. So I mean,
we have one of those.
Technically, yeah. They like to say. Oh, speaking of which, not to get off topic, but I saw that tweet that you posted on the other day where 1029 was asking about post a meme or something about the last band you saw, and you posted that GIF with Testament in it.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that on it. I was gonna comment on it. They're not gonna. I was gonna comment on it about how they don't know who that is, but they probably don't. They probably don't know who Testament is, which is stupid because I mean they'll sponsor the local rock station here in Nashville. They will sponsor.
They know. I mean, they have to know because they used to play Return to Serenity on there all the time. It's like they know.
So, which is weird, but well, that's always the joke because they don't even play anything nearly that heavy anymore. But the local rock station here, they will sponsor every tour that comes through here. Like the last time Steel Panther came through here, the local rock station sponsored the Steel Panther concert. You think they're going to play any Steel Panther on the fucking radio?
No.
Absolutely not. So that's the thing that kind of annoys the two of us, as far as the local rock station here, in Nashville. So
the thing is, it's fine. It's fine to play what they play, but they don't play like they stick to that same like genre of stuff, and then they'll throw in a Metallica or a Megadeth or something every once in a while and think, oh, that's fine. It's not. I mean, it's
not fine.
There's so many bands out there that have great music and come out with great music in the last couple of years that you don't play. I mean, I've never heard an Avatar song on that station.
Mm-hmm.
No. I've never heard a Kill Switch Engage song on that station.
No. You probably haven't. Well, they will play Slipknot, but it's not. Yeah. But as far as Slipknot goes, it's never their heavier stuff.
Right.
And then
always,
no, I mean, nothing against like Snuff or Dead Memories or,
Right.
stuff like that. But because I enjoy those songs, but I mean, I want when, when you think of Slipknot, you're thinking of like Wait and Bleed and Spit It Out and Left
Mhm.
Behind, shit like that, but I guarantee they don't play Ice Nine Kills on that radio station.
No, I've
I
never heard
guarantee you
Ice
they
Nine on
don't.
there either. So
No, they're not going to play
I've
Ice Nine
never,
Kills on that
I've
radio
never heard
station.
Motionless in White. I've never, there's a lot of bands I've never heard on there. So.
No, so they're just Nashville's rock station. Not really. Not really. But
just
before
you,
we spend the next,
just cause you buy copyrights to a slogan doesn't mean it's true.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, before we spend the next 30 minutes, talking shit about the local radio station, I guess we should move on.
Yeah, before we take it out in the back alley, and kick the shit out of it.
Yeah. All right. Staying over at blabbermouth.net. Norwegian Gothic metal pioneers Tristania have called it quits after more than a quarter century as a band. Earlier today on September 17th. So I've held on to this a little bit, but I saw this came out basically after last week's show. So it was really the first story I saw for this week. Tristania released the following statement via social media, quote, after 26 years on the international metal scene, the members of Tristania have this week taken the heavy decision to call it a day. This means that future plans, including the scheduled Latin America tour in December, have been canceled. Struggling through some truly challenging years like the rest of the world, we have been eager to finally look ahead, with the Latin America tour being the next big thing for us. Last week came the news about a serious medical situation in near family within the band, which will make it impossible to pursue both short and long-term plans with this band. This came as a shock to us, and we are truly sorry to share this. Tristania is a band that has never made compromises in our art, and it has never been an option for us to present anything not 100% to our fans and followers. The timing of this could not have been worse, and it is especially sad for us not to be able to meet our friends in Latin America again. We have always had a special relationship to our Latin American fans. Our sincere apologies to everyone that will be affected by our decision. We want to thank everyone we have worked together with for almost 3 decades of writing music, recording, releasing, and touring, but especially we would like to give an extra heartfelt thank you to Continental Concerts that has stood by us in thick and thin through a significant part of the band's career. Last but not least, we would like to thank our loyal fans all over the world for amazing experiences through the years. Without you, we would not have had the inspiration to continue for so many years. It has been an eventful 26 years. Now let us all cherish the memories. Singer Mariangela Demertis, who joined Tristania in 2007, shared the band's statement and included the following message, quote, I'm not coming with good news today, unfortunately. I will spend some more words on this matter later. Excuse me for now, but this is not an easy post to make, end quote. Tristania's latest album, Darkest White, was released in 2013. The LP was produced by Christer Andre Cederberg of Anathema fame. This past March, Mariangela told Terra Relicta that Tristania was still an active band. Quote, we talked about this. We're still talking about it, she said. We have to combine the life of 5 or 6 different people, and sometimes it's not easy. We're all busy with our projects as well, so I don't know, and I can't say anything. We are talking about coming back with something new, but yeah, I cannot promise anything, but don't worry, Tristania is not dead, end quote. Of course, obviously, we know now that that is not the case, that Tristania, unfortunately, has decided to pack it in, so... that's always unfortunate when we lose another when we lose another musical group. So if all you Tristania fans out there, listen to as much of it as you can, because we're not going to get anything new. So,
well, I mean, that's
they had a good run though.
It's kind of that way. So I mean, there's a lot of bands out there that's kind of just like even like on hiatus. I mean, like System of a Down, which I talk about that here in a minute, but I got a story on that. But yeah, I mean, they haven't done anything for a minute, so But I mean, they're still they still basically could. They just don't. It's kind of
there's still not to jump too far.
Some animosity there, but
yeah, there's a little bit of there's there's some stuff going on there. So which is unfortunate, but yeah, not to get too far ahead, but.
Yeah. My next one is over from Metal Hammer. This one's kind of interesting too. Anvil, the story of Anvil, the much-loved documentary about Canadian metal band Anvil, is to return to cinemas. The film, which features remastered sound and vision, will be shown at 200 theaters across the U.S. on September 27th. The theater showing will also include an 18-minute epilogue interview with Anvil members Steve Lips Kudlow and Rob Reiner, plus director Satya Garbasi. The interview is moderated by former MTV host Matt Pinfield. Quote, "Sorry, am I on magic mushrooms right now?" asked Gervasi. "Is this film really being released in theaters again? Someone please wake me," end quote. Following the screening on the September 27th, the film will enjoy an extended theatrical run through October at AMC and Regal Cinemas. The film will also be available for digital pre-order on Apple Plus, Amazon Prime, Google Play, and Vudu from the 27th. Meanwhile, the band will embark on a UK and Ireland tour on October 2nd. Anvil, the story of Anvil, was originally released in 2009. The documents documents the relative rise and spectacular fall of a band who are considered by many to have played a formative role in the thrash metal movement. It's a poignant tale of relative success and savage reality, featuring interviews with Metallica's Lars Ulrich, Guns N' Roses Slash, Motorhead's Lemmy, Anthrax's Scott Ian, and Slayer's Tom Araya. The film was considered by the Times to be possibly the greatest film yet made about rock and roll. It also won an Emmy Award for Outstanding Arts and Culture Programming in 2010. In 2016, the band revealed that a sequel film was in the works, with Kudlow telling Metal Talk, "We're not talking about it because there's no point. It's a long way off. The filming is about halfway through and it's not done yet. So what are we talking about? It's got to get done first." End quote. A new trailer for Anvil, the story, can be seen on whatever apps you use. YouTube, Metal Hammer's got it over there, so just wherever you want to check that out at. Showtimes for the film screenings can be found on Anvil's website. And the band's most recent album, Impact is Imminent, was released in May. So they're still going. So it's good that they're still, even though they, it shows a little bit of revelations there that they, overcame. But it's pretty cool to see them still out doing stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But that's crazy to have that come out. What is it? 21 years later or 19 years, something like that. Hell, I can't even do math. So
yeah, it came out in 2009. So
12 years.
So 12 or 13 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Still, that's still quite a gap in between theatrical releases for anything, really.
Yeah. It's almost like we're waiting on a Tool album.
Yeah. Or Chinese Democracy.
Oh God.
Speaking of which, we'll be touching on that later.
Talking about that too, yeah. So we're all kind of hints in the show today. So.
I'm telling you, yeah. All right, so we just talked about a band who's packing it in. Let's talk about a band who's got a new member, and that's not a reference to Tommy Lee. Let's staying over at Blabbermouth, California glam metal.
I don't think that member's new. I think it's been with them the whole time.
Well, that's true. Yeah. California glam metal jokester Steel Panther have welcomed Spider as their new bassist. Spider and the Steel Panther guys have known each other for decades, but it was in 2018 that Spider did his first live show with the band. Little did they know that those shows would be a foreshadowing of what Destiny had in store for their collective futures. In 2021, the band found themselves in a pickle. They needed a bass player. An exhaustive search brought many submissions, and fans were treated to a variety of bassists on different tours. The band had even considered a few well-known bassists to fill the void. Throughout the 5-week European tour in summer of 2022, it became quite evident to all four guys that this lineup was unstoppable. A few more months of touring together perfected the new lineup, and now anyone that has seen the band recently knows that Spider is the perfect addition to Steel Panther. Steel Panther said in a statement, quote, "We wanted it to be you. We wanted it to be you so badly, so it's not going to be easy. It's going to be really hard. We're going to have to work at this every day, but we want to do that because we want you. We want all of you forever, you and us every day. To us, you are perfect. You had us at hello. You complete us. You're going to need a bigger boat." End quote. To coincide with the new bassist announcement, Steel Panther has announced a U.S. tour, Claws and Paws Holiday Party. The 8-city trek will kick off in late November after the band wraps up its recently announced Canadian leg of the Res Erections Tour 2022. And again, we'll talk about that later in the show. So.
There was.
I wanted to say one thing. There's one thing in this. There's something in this. Hang on a second. There was something in this story that Michael Starr was talking about that I wanted to put on here that I thought was fucking hilarious. But I won't read this whole. but it won't read the whole story. Where the hell was it? Okay, well, basically, at some point, Michael Starr was talking about Lexi, and he was talking about how he's still friends with Lexi Fox and everything else, and what he wanted to do when he left the band and everything. And Michael Starr made some joke about how Lexi went home so he could spend more time with his wife and his family, and he said, "I didn't even know Lexi had a wife and family. I thought Lexi was gay this whole time." So that's not an exact quote, but that's like the gist of it. But when I read that, I thought it was funny as hell. So, but yeah,
they definitely have a comedy metal tandem going. That's that works for them. So
it works perfectly. So
and like Guar is the same way. People talk about Guar, but Guar is really comedic too. It's kind of funny. Some of the stuff they talk about. But,
oh yeah, it's great. But I can't wait. Hopefully,
not to bring up anything political, but when we were at the show, they were, one of the guy, the guitarist was talking about, hey man, did you hear about the, did the Roe versus Wade thing? And like he's like, what? He's like, well, I don't like that anyway because they're taking our jobs. We're supposed to be killing everybody,
That's right. Yeah.
I was like, wow, this dude's fucking nuts.
So hopefully
because that was actually the first time I got to catch Guar. They had been in a couple other festivals that I've been to, but they actually overlapped with some other bands I'd rather seen. But but they were kind of like in that slot where I didn't have anything going on. I said, you know what, we got to watch Guar this time. It's a must. So.
Yeah, I've still not had a chance to see them, and which sucks because now that Odorous Orungus is gone, but,
right?
It's
still a good show though. I mean, it's still.
Oh, I bet it is. It's still pretty
cool.
Yeah, so hopefully the next time Steel Panther gets around this way, we'll be able to go see him because the last time,
if we can afford to go see him, like Jesus.
Last time.
Ridiculous last time.
Yeah, last time they came around this area, it was during the pandemic, and they still had a show, but they had everything split off into these things that they were calling pods, but
pods.
The amount of money that they wanted, per person in one of these pods was ridiculous. So we opted against that. So,
I think it's probably because they couldn't put as many people in there, with them doing it that way. So, which I get, but.
Well, I get it, but at the same time, I wasn't paying that much to go see them. So,
because you're in the middle of a pandemic and half the people's not working anyway. So, that didn't make a lot of sense either. I get it, but I don't get it. You know what I mean? It's kind of like,
yeah. So
it's not like you probably needed the money.
Yeah. So maybe they'll be at Marathon Music Works again the next time they come through because that's where we got to see them that first time. That was a good setup. So.
Or maybe they'll go to the Brooklyn Bowl or something. That was a pretty cool venue. So
that was a great venue, actually. I really like that place. Yeah, they could play that venue for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right. My next one is over from Metal Hammer. Since we touched on this earlier, Serge Tankian has announced that he will be releasing a new EP, Perplex Cities, via an augmented reality app. The System of a Down frontman will be dropping a track a week through Arlupa, which will also allow Tankian to appear in the same space as the listener viewer to explain the music and listen along. The first single, Pop Imperialism, arrived on September 19th. In other words, you'll be able to see Tankian in your home through your phone camera as if he's really there in front of you. Speaking of this new innovative method of releasing music, he tells Rolling Stone in a statement, quote, "I'm always trying to create new and interesting ways to connect with people via my music. We made some amazing videos for the last EP, Elasticity, so I wanted to try something different for Perplex Cities. I love the idea of appearing in the room with someone listening to my music. It's intimate, fun, and different," end quote. The follow-up to 2021's EP, Elasticity, will also be officially released on October 21st through Tankian's Surgical Strike label. I'm sorry, but every time I read that, Elasticity, I'll go see it.
I know. Yeah. Yeah, you can't help it.
I know it's just like part of it.
Yeah, you can't help
Earlier this year, System of a Down drummer Don Dolman hit out on his bandmates for the band's creative stasis. While speaking on YouTuber Sona Oganessian, in an interview, I guess that's how you pronounce it, I don't know, but Doman stated that he believed System have become more and more successful in spite of their best efforts to ruin it. We haven't made an album since 2005, he explained. We barely tour. We don't do interviews. We don't do press. We're almost completely sundered from the music business, and yet we have more and more offers to play nearly every year. Obviously, we still have something to give this world, the drummer continues. We have this gift, right, that came from God or what, wherever, and we're squandering it. It's an insult to everybody else that tries to make it in whatever endeavor they're trying to make. And here we are. We've made it. We have the talent. We have the ability, and we have an adoring fan base. We've sold, I don't know, whatever it is, 30 million albums or more, and they're hungry for it, and we just don't do it. So I guess that was his take on where the band stands.
Yeah, he's actually been pretty outspoken about that, like multiple occasions, talking about why the fuck are we not making music?
Well, I mean, you like I get what he's saying though. You're a successful band. You've done the things that you set out to do. You made it. A lot of bands don't get that opportunity, and you're, like he said, you're squandering it. You're squandering a lot of opportunities. But I was lucky enough to see them at Sonic Temple a few years back at the festival. So, if they never get back together, at least I got to see them. But it's crazy though. They really should do something. They really should do something new. But
but
who knows?
Yeah. I mean, and without knowing all the ins and outs of everything going on, because I don't know. But having said that, I think it may actually be, a lot of it may be actually on Serge from a lot of it may actually be on him. But thankfully I did get to see, you're going to be surprised that I went to this concert, but back in 2000 or 2001, back when I was living up in Murfreesboro, I will say this, I went because it was free. I didn't pay for this ticket, but I had my roommate at the time when I was in college. He had called me up and he said that a friend of his had an extra ticket to go see Limp Bizkit. I was like, sure, why the hell not? It's a free show. Here's the bill. Here was the bill. Limp Bizkit, Redman and Method Man, and System of a Down. That was the bill.
Oh man, that was the bill.
Yeah. So, and that was actually System of a Down. They were touring on their debut album. So, so I have seen System of a Down, but I've only seen them play, live music from their first album. So I have seen them, and they put on a good show considering that they were the opener. So,
I think Limp Bizkit's one of those bands that are a guilty pleasure for a metalhead. I think so. I think it's one of those where you're like, yeah, I know I shouldn't, but I kind of want to.
Well, I mean, when back then, like I say, this was 2000, 2001. So I mean, we're talking, a little more than 20 years ago. Limp Bizkit, for what they were, they had good music. They had some good stuff come out. Was it all good? No, but they did have some good stuff that came out, back then. And the rap metal thing was a thing at the time. It was a thing. And for all the shit that Fred Durst gets, and some of it is deserved. Some of it's deserved. Thankfully, Fred Durst is actually in on the joke now. So he's not taking himself nearly as seriously as he used to. So he's in on the joke now, which is nice. But Limp Bizkit did have some good music. They did. I'm not going to sit here and say that I didn't buy 2 or 3 albums, because I did. Because like I say, talking 20 years ago, rap metal was a thing. Some of it I did like, and I bought some of it. Sure, I'm not going to lie. Do I still listen to it? No, I don't. But I bought some of it. It's in the collection downstairs on the shelf right now.
Mm-hmm. All right, we better get back rolling here. So
yeah. But we need to watch out for the Undertaker. He may run us over.
That's true.
Yeah. All right. Still that was a good one. Still over at blabbermouth.net, Swedish metalers Sabaton have announced that for the last 2 years, they have been busy working on an exciting large-scale project. In 2023, Sabaton will release The War to End All Wars movie, a full-length musical motion picture featuring songs from the band's 10th studio album, The War to End All Wars. This movie vividly tells the stories of World War I by way of animation and live action. It will give the viewer a better understanding of what the band's songs on the album are about. It is a musical and historical adventure. And if you don't know that about Sabaton by now, then one, you haven't been watching the show, and two, you just haven't been paying attention.
You still listen to Sabaton.
You don't listen to Sabaton, yeah. Currently in post-production, the movie is being made in collaboration with Yarn Hub Animation Studio. Sabaton previously worked with the studio on other projects, including the most recent animated story video for The Red Baron. The War to End All Wars movie is on a completely different scale that neither the band nor Yarn Hub have ever attempted before. Sabaton bassist Par Sundstrom said, quote, "We premiered an early version of this movie to journalists during a preview session for our latest album, The War to End All Wars, at the Royal Military Museum in Brussels. Witnessing their reaction to it was priceless. They were speechless. So we decided to take it to the next level and push the boundaries even further for a global audience," end quote. Added David Webb of Yarn Hub, quote, "When Sabaton asked us to go beyond anything we had produced before and jointly create a film for their new album, we were filled with excitement and trepidation. It was a massive undertaking that required new people, technology, and skills, but we couldn't miss the opportunity. We often say our mission is to harvest goosebumps, and our work with Sabaton has always been the most successful in that regard. It's been 2 years in the making, but after spending many late nights and weekends in meetings with the band, the end result is something unique, a new way to listen to the album, a deeper understanding that helps the viewer experience the bravery and tragedy that was the inspiration for Sabaton's latest masterwork," end quote. The War to End All Wars movie is a cohesive, thought-provoking, and emotionally charged piece with a heavy focus on storytelling. It features members of the band, both in real life and animated, and a lot of research and effort has been put into it to ensure it depicts history in the most accurate way possible. This is something the band is very passionate about. Sabaton had a dream of creating something that's entertaining but with great educational value, and that dream has become a reality after 2 years of hard work. Sabaton climbed the international charts with The War to End All Wars, securing #1 positions in Germany, Austria, Sweden, Poland, Hungary, and Finland. Having achieved the top position for the second time in Germany, Sweden, and Finland, the album peaked at #1 in Poland, Hungary, and Austria for the first time in the band's career. This and additional outstanding results in other territories have made The War to End All Wars Sabaton's most successful album so far. And congratulations to those guys. I am a huge fan of this band. So I will definitely do my best to look into catching that movie when it comes out.
Do they have a concert coming up, or
October 3rd at Ryman Auditorium with Epica. That is currently sold out, which sucks because I do not have tickets.
Yeah, I think they probably should have got a bigger venue for that.
They probably should have.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, the Nashville area I've been to a lot of metal shows and they've been pretty fucking packed. So I mean, there's not a lack of fan base here. There's just a lack.
No, there is not.
There's just a lack of somebody putting the music out there for the fans. It's like, unfortunately, it shouldn't be the case. But I mean, whatever. It's kind of like we were talking with Vinny last night. He was talking about that algorithm where he can tell where people are where the fan base is coming from, so he can try to like book shows in the area which makes sense. You want to go where sense. You want to go where you have the fans that are going to come in and see you instead of going, this is a big let's say Raleigh, North Carolina. We'll just go to Raleigh, North Carolina because it's a big city. Surely there's metalheads there. Well, maybe not. I mean, like I said, he don't know for sure, but he does. He knows for sure if he's got fans there. But so it's just pretty cool. Like I'm sure a lot of bigger bands probably know that too, or they wouldn't book big tours, and they wouldn't book big tours in those areas. But
right.
All right. So this one I showed you too. It's kind of surprising to me. This one's over at Metal Hammer. It's time to whack out the champagnes as Ozzy Osbourne has just landed his first #1 album. Yeah, you heard it. First #1 album in the United States with Patient Number 9, which I thought was unreal. I'm just like, really? Like that's because to me, No More Tears and Osmosis were awesome fucking albums. Like, how did they not ever hit #1? I do not know, but I guess because No More Tears didn't, because at the same time you had Guns N' Roses Use Your Illusions, and then Metallica's Black Album and all that was to compete with. So I guess that could be why. But Anyway, the album made its way to the top of Billboard's top album sales chart with 52,500 equivalent album units in the first week. Making up the 52,500 sales were 44,500 physical sales, 16,500 on vinyl, 27,500 on CD, and yes, 500 on cassette. Believe that or not, but 8,000 digital downloads. As the Billboard chart measures in terms of traditional sales, the 4.64 million on-demand streams of the album were excluded from the overall total. Over in the UK, landed at the second spot. Patient number 9 also landed at number 1 on Billboard's top rock and alternative albums, top rock albums, top rock hard rock albums, top current album sales, and taste maker album and vinyl albums. The Prince of Darkness might not have reached the peak position in the U.S. previously, but he has managed to score a handful of entries in the top 10, including 2020's Ordinary Man that came in at number 2, 2010's Scream at number 4, 2007's Black Rain at number 3, 2001's Down to Earth at number 4, 95's Osmosis at number 4, and No More Tears at number 7. But that still surprises me at number 7.
That is surprising.
In the UK, he landed similar high positions with 1980's Blizzard of Oz at number 7, 1986's The Ultimate Sin at number 8, 2007's Black Rain at number 8, Ordinary Man at number 3, and even 2 number 1 spots with the 1970s Paranoid and 2013's 13. And so the thing is, like, I wonder how many people can say they have that many in the top 10, though. That's a lot of damn albums being in the top 10. In celebration of the new release, Ozzy is launching a 3-part YouTube series documenting the making of Patient Number 9. The first episode is out now on YouTube. Actually, I think the second episode is too. I think I just seen that yesterday where they released the second one. But When Ozzy Calls is what it's called. When Ozzy Calls was directed by his son Jack Osbourne and features interviews with Ozzy and Sharon alongside producer Andrew Watt and musicians Zach Wilde, Chad Smith, Duff McKagan, Robert Trujillo, Mike McCready, and who all appeared on the album. So there you go. So if you want to check out the ins and outs of that album, there you go. So, but congratulations to Ozzy. First thing, I mean, I still like some. Oh, man, it still just blows my mind. Like, as long as he's been doing it,
I mean, better late than never, I guess. But yeah,
I guess, yeah. But
I mean, it's all. Of course, it's awesome to hear, but I mean, it's not like he like necessarily needed it per se. But yeah,
well, no, but
it's always good to be at the top, something like that.
Yeah,
and
I
also,
think like
I was going to say
Iron Maiden and a lot of those older bands like that don't really pay much attention to that. I don't think is they're just I think Bruce Dickinson said a lot of times like we don't care about those things, man. We're just making music.
Yeah. Bruce Dickinson, that's not anything that's on his radar. So and of course we all know how he feels about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So. Yeah, it's kind of the same way we feel about it.
Well, a lot of people play about Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I think Avenged Sevenfold feels the same way we do. Don't even show up for the shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that and the Grammys. Yeah.
Well, yeah, the Grammys is what I was talking about.
Oh, yeah, Sam. Sorry. All right. All right. One more.
My apologies.
No, that's okay. One more over at blabbermouth.net. And yep. Sorry, guys, we're not going to get through a show without talking about Metallica. Metallica's All Within My Hands Foundation, a 501c3 nonprofit foundation focused on creating sustainable communities by tackling issues including hunger and workforce education, brings its Helping Hands concert and auction back into the physical world for its 3rd year. On December 16th, Helping Hands will make its Southern California debut with Metallica and special guests performing at the Microsoft Theater in downtown LA. Tickets will be on sale to the public from 10 a.m. local time Friday, September 23rd, being yesterday, with a 2-ticket limit per customer. As always, 100% of the proceeds from this year's Helping Hands event, tickets, fees, and auction items will go directly to help those in need. For further information and pre-sales, go to this location. There is a hyperlink in the story. Metallica's previous Helping Hands concert and auction was live streamed November 14th, 2020, raising more than $1.8 million. funds used to work with partners at Feeding America and the American Association of Community Colleges, as well as various COVID and disaster relief efforts. All Within My Hands was established in 2017 as a way for the Metallica family to give back to communities that have supported the band. All Within My Hands expenses are completely covered entirely by the band, the board, and friends who have worked with the band over many years, ensuring that 100% of proceeds go directly to help those in need. To date, All Within My Hands has donated over $5.8 million to critical local services and the fight against food insecurity, working with partners around the world to feed more than 10 million people. In addition, the foundation's Metallica Scholars Initiative has pledged a total of $5.9 million in grants benefiting 30 community colleges across the United States. So if you're counting, that is $11.7 million that Metallica has raised for charity alone. So there you go.
Yeah. But for those of you bitching, have you even come close to that? So
nope.
I don't even think I've made that in my lifetime. So.
No.
It is sad to think about it, because I was thinking it was adding some stuff up from, like, you get those Social Security like letters every once in a while. It's telling you, hey, if you became disabled today, this is kind of what you would make or whatever. And I was reading through that a while back, and like it was like $2 or $3 million that I had made since I started working at 16. I'm thinking, man, this is fucking ridiculous. So where'd that money go?
Mm-hmm. I know.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably easy to spend that over. Just know, if you make $1 million, win $1 million, you're not out of the woods. You can definitely spend it.
Of course. Check this out. We got this week's playlist right there on the screen there. Yep.
So if you want to check out some new music there, I think there's 13 or 14 new bands in the beginning there, and then I kind of threw in some new tracks from I think like next week's going to be interesting, because all that stuff came out after the fact. Avatar came out, and then Disturbed came out, and then Godsmack came out. And I'm like, damn, y'all waited till I put the damn playlist out.
I know.
So I'll make sure I'll include that on next week's playlist. So luckily I do those on Wednesdays or Thursdays. I try to do it on Wednesdays, but if I work the long week, I do it on Thursday. But all right, this one is over from Loudwire. I think we kind of touched a little bit on this on the story a couple of weeks ago. Either that or I just headlined it. I can't remember. But Guns N' Roses have finally unveiled a special edition box set for their Use Your Illusion 1 and 2 albums, which turned 31 last week. In commemoration of the announcement, they've shared a live version of You Could Be Mine, which was recorded during a 1991 performance in New York and can be streamed now. There are several new configurations of the album available, but the Super Deluxe box set is the biggest of them all, featuring a total of 97 songs, a hardcover book of photos, prints, posters, and turntable mat, and some other collectibles and replicas of memorabilia from the Illusion era of Guns N' Roses' career. There are a total of 12 LPs. The Illusion albums each come in the form of 2 colored LPs, and the others are live concert albums. Live in New York, which took place at the Ritz Theater in 91, was a warm-up show for the worldwide Use Your Illusion tour, and features guest vocals from Blind Melon's Shannon Hoon and a special live rendition of You Ain't the First. Live in Las Vegas was recorded at the Thomas and Mack Center in 92. The New York concert also comes in the set of a Blu-ray disc, which comes with the new live music video for You Could Be Mine, and there are CD and digital versions of all the albums included as well. The newly remastered Use Your Illusion 1 features a previously unreleased version of November Rain, which was recorded with an actual 50-piece orchestra in 2022, whereas the existing studio version was arranged completely on a synthesizer by Axl Rose. The Super Deluxe box set is priced at $500 plus shipping and is expected to ship out on November the 11th. For those who are looking for a simpler way to celebrate the albums, you can also buy the colored LPs as a standalone set, which also comes with a turntable mat and is running for $125. Standalone black LPs or CDs of each album and some new merch too. You can see all that's available over at Guns N' Roses' website. The Use Your Illusion albums came out on September 17th, 1991, and debuted in the top 2 spots on Billboard 200. Use Your Illusion 2 at 1 and Use Your Illusion 1 at 2, which is kind of funny. But it sold a collective total of 1.2 million copies in their first week. So I think that's why I think that was in the news, that in the history news a couple weeks ago about
I think it was.
So pretty wild to sell that many copies in 1 week. So
500,000 copies, well, 600,000 copies each in the first week. That's just mind-boggling. And the funny thing is, I always actually like Use Your Illusion 2 better than 1 anyway, so it doesn't really
I did too, yeah.
So it doesn't really surprise me that was number 1 and number 1 was number 2. So but it's just weird. It's just fun, it sounds weird to say, but I like Use Your Illusion 2 better. But
it's crazy to have your both albums go gold in the first week, right?
I know, that's bonkers. Good for them though. All right, I've actually got a little bit of quote unquote breaking news. Just saw this released today. I don't know when it was released because it wasn't on here, before the show. So this is basically breaking news. Over at Blabbermouth, thrash metal pioneers and metal icons Megadeth were presented with plaques to commemorate the RIAA certification for platinum sales of 1992's Symphony of Destruction and the gold status of 1986's Peace Sells But Who's Buying and 1990's Holy War Is the Punishment Due. The presentation was held on August 24th after they performed to a packed house at 5 Point Amphitheater in Irvine, California as the support act for Five Finger Death Punch. And
So when did they earn those titles though? It was like, have they been sitting on them shit for 20 years? What the hell?
I'm not real sure. It doesn't really say what date that those certifications were.
It's like the RIAA was out.
It doesn't say in the
story.
It doesn't say in the story.
It's like the RIAA was out cleaning out their basement and found all this shit,
Yeah, it kind of sounds like it. Considering you're talking about Symphony of Destruction literally came out 30 years ago, and then
it was one of their biggest albums, so it hit gold or platinum.
Yeah, so so I don't know, but again, better late than never. So congratulations to them. A little bit of breaking news here on today's show. So, but that should be everything I have from Blabbermouth. I do still have some other stories, but that was it for me from Blabbermouth for this week. So.
Well, what else you got? Because I only got 2 left.
I actually think I've got 2 left. Yep, I have 2.
Okay, cool. All right, so this one over from Metal Injection. Within Temptation is the latest band to team up with Iron Maiden for an expansion of the Iron Maiden Legacy of the Beast mobile game. The collaboration is called The Purge and follows a story inspired by Within Temptation's 2020 single of the same name. This exciting collaboration has culminated in a dungeon event called The Purge, inspired by Within Temptation's 2020 single of the same name, and a newly created character, Genesis. In this storyline, Genesis teams up with the different world iteration of Eddie, who was inspired by the lyrics, themes, and imagery of Iron Maiden's 2006 track Different World and the subsequent music video. This week-long event will take fans and players on a journey with Different World Eddie and Genesis, who's now been woven into the Legacy of the Beast lore as mother of the Different World. Genesis has remained in isolation for thousands of years, and through a network of caretakers, she has recently become aware of the instability that has overtaken her home. Now she sets off to find the root of the issue. Now Genesis, moving towards a stronghold of the Different World machine god, runs into Different World Eddie, a shard of the Eternal who has adopted the Different World philosophy. Together, they will breach the machine god's forces and stamp out the small part of the Hive Mind's plan. The expansion goes live at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on September 19th, which is out now, I guess, and is free to play through both Apple's App Store and Google. Within Temptation will also be on tour with Iron Maiden in a few weeks, starting in South Dakota, which is pretty cool. So get to tour with them and be on a game with them. There you go. Can't beat that.
Yeah. No. You absolutely cannot.
What'd you do with your year? Well, I spent it all with Iron Maiden. So
pretty much, yeah. Yeah, and like you said when you sent me the snippet of that story, it's like I gotta play this game at least once
Oh
because they
man,
keep
yeah, because they
adding
got so
they
many
keep
characters. Yeah,
they keep adding characters to it. I gotta try to play this game like at least once just to see what
yeah,
it's
they
all
got
about.
they got the Five Finger Death Punch one. They got Vic from Megadeth, and the
Hmm.
Disturbed characters. I mean, they got a lot of different
Yeah,
things going on with
yeah,
that one. So
yeah, they do. They got a bunch of them. Yeah. All right, I'm going to join you over at Metal Injection. Soilwork guitarist David Anderson passed away last week at 47 years old. Anderson played with Soilwork between 2012 and 2022, with his final effort being the band's latest record, Overgiven Heaton. Soilwork has now taken to social media to announce they plan on continuing as a band and will move ahead with all touring activities. The band also thanks fans around the world for their kind words about Anderson. As always, we wish Anderson's friends and family all the best during the difficult times. Quote, today marks the 1 month anniversary of Overgiven Heaton, David's final work with us, said Soilwork in a statement. He poured so much of himself into this album, and together we created something really special. In the wake of last week's tragic event, we would like to emphasize that we will carry on the musical legacy of this band and continue to present Overgiven Heaton to our fans and bring the new songs on the road around the world in David's memory. We are soon ready to announce upcoming touring activities. As of our announced Australian tour, it will move on as scheduled. We would also like to thank everyone for reaching out, paying their respect and condolences, as well as sharing beautiful memories with this band and David. Thank you for your compassion and understanding. End quote. Aside from being Soilwork's guitarist, Anderson has numerous writing credits throughout the albums he performed on. Anderson also played in the Night Flight Orchestra, who issued their own statement saying they too will carry on. Quote, September 14th in the year of 22 will be a date that none of us will ever forget. Our guitarist David Anderson shut his eyes forever. It was the day we've all dreaded for quite some time. Our hearts are grieving. As Bjorn went to visit David for the last time at the hospital, he gave him the blessing to continue the musical journey that they both embarked on some 21 years ago. Or 12 years ago, sorry. Despite David's fairly long absence from the band as a touring member, we've had an amazing and busy summer with unforgettable shows. However, there was one thing we haven't done in a long time, playing club shows. We can't see a better way to celebrate David's life and music than to embark on this mini European tour in November that we've been planning for quite a while. We encourage you to join us in the celebration and dance the night away. This winged and nocturnal journey must continue. In David's honor, we also named the tour Death to False AOR. He would have loved that, because if there's one thing he loathed, it was the false and non-organic AOR. So a little bit of news, is kind of like a follow-up to, David Anderson passing away. If anyone was kind of, wondering what was going to happen with both projects, so they will go on. I will definitely make sure that if I hear if and when they name, permanent replacements in, either or both projects, if it's the same person, if it's different people, we'll update you guys as that news comes along. So, which, I mean,
kind of
Soilworks' new album was really, really good.
yes, it was. Yeah, it was one
That
of the.
Overgiven Heaton, it was a very good album.
Yeah, I liked it too. So
I did. I liked it a lot.
I'm going to stick with kind of the same type of story here over at Blabbermouth. This is my last one. Metal Church guitarist Kurt Vanderhoof has confirmed to Metal Rules that the band has found a replacement for singer Mike Howe. Howe was found dead at his home in Eureka, California in July of 2021. According to TMZ, Howe's official cause of death was determined to be asphyxia due to hanging. A spokesperson for the Humboldt County Sheriff's Department told the site authorities are calling it a suicide. He was 55 years old. Asked by Metal Rules how he processed Howe's death, Kurt said, to be honest, I still really haven't processed it. I can't imagine what it must feel like. Wait a minute. How did it must feel like? Oh, I was like, wow, that's kind of ran in together there. I can't imagine what it must feel like to feel that suicide is your only option. And because he was like my brother, and to find out he was in such pain, it's too late to try to help. It's just something I cannot get my head around. Kurt went on to say that there will be a new Metal Church album in 2023. I had written a new record in Mike, and I had just begun the process before he passed, he explained. So I had a lot of material on hand. Also wanted to complete the album in honor of him. I have written a batch of additional material, and it's going to be more aggressive in a more aggressive direction. According to Kurt, he and his Metal Church bandmates are keeping a lid on the identity of their new singer for the time being. I guess in Fear Factory fashion.
Right.
However, he revealed, we didn't choose a Mike Howe clone or a David Wayne clone. We decided to approach the future as a new chapter in the band's career. I think the fans will really dig it. So I hope so. We'll see. man, it's really starting to 2023 is already starting to shape up to be a pretty big year too. I mean, with Godsmack and
I was thinking the same thing.
Avenged Sevenfold and Metal Church and Avatar and man,
with any luck, maybe Metallica.
Yeah, Killswitch Engaged possibly. So man.
We're
Death
definitely.
Angel. I think Death Angel is looking at new work next year. So
Testament is too.
Yeah, I've seen that too. So man,
yeah, man. So
crazy.
we're not going to be able to just lay back and just read the news.
No,
which is fine. Which is totally fine.
I think it's going to be another big year, man. It's already
so.
shaping up that way. So
this
year's not over yet either.
So. Yeah, bring that shit on. All right. Well, my last.
I think there's still coming out at the end of the year. So
yeah. All right, so my last story over at the PRP. Obscura's storage space was recently broken into with various items having been stolen. The band's mastermind, vocalist guitarist Stefan Kummerer, provided the below update on the theft on September 20th. Quote, "Dear friends and fans, while Obscura embark on a European tour, we just received the news that our locker room has been broken into. Aside backline gear and production pieces, a very noticeable white ESP Flying V has been stolen. The two smart persons who broke into the locker room have been filmed with 12 cameras, and their faces, deeds, and actions have been documented well. Also, thank you for parking your Ford Transporter, including license plate, in front of 2 cameras. The officials have been included, and the police investigates as we write this message. If any one of you sees the ESP offered, please send us a mail. The serial number of the instrument has been registered, and we will make sure whoever stole this equipment will see consequences. With kind regards, Stefan Kummerer." As Kummerer indicated above, the break-in took place while the group are out on tour with Persephone and Disillusion, playing the following shows, and then the tour dates are below, which I guarantee you we've already talked about.
Oh yeah, we talked about.
Check out this badass guitar though.
Oh, that is sweet.
That is a badass guitar. God damn, that's awesome. So anyone sees that guitar, let them know so they can get their shit back.
That's
thankfully they did have plenty of surveillance, so it looks like whoever stole their stuff is going to get caught, which is good. But man, this has been way too many times we've had to report on this year.
Well, the thing is, they may get caught, but they may not get their stuff back. That's the problem. It's like
that is the problem. Hopefully they like their backline gear. Hopefully that stuff is insured, but the guitar is completely different. Because you end up you get the sentimentality
right
with a musical instrument, and not to mention probably also some rarity, and then the guy played the guitar on stage, so obviously he liked the guitar, he wants his fucking guitar back, so I hope he gets his guitar back.
Well, the bad thing with some of these musicians is those guitars are made for them, by
exactly
Gibson and stuff do that stuff all the time. It's like so it's just crazy. I think one of the biggest things I ever seen was CC DeVille. I don't remember when they were going on tour back in the 80s or 90s, and they were showing his guitars. I was like, damn, dude, do you buy anything besides guitars?
well, when you're talking about
shit ton of guitars.
Well, when you're talking about CC DeVille back in the 80s, he probably bought guitars and cocaine.
Yeah, well, there you go. So. He bought cocaine strained guitars. But,
he probably did. Yeah, back then he probably did. But that was all my current events news. So
all right, well, we will switch over to hitting the road. I only have one here, so I guess you can take the lead on whatever else you got. So the only thing that I come across was that Counterparts are announced a North America tour with CU Space Cowboy and Dying Wish. With the CU Space Cowboy only, they'll be starting out on November 16th in Grand Rapids, Michigan at the Stash. Is that what they call it? The Stash? That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
So
the Stash.
You're from up there, so and then that one will end up on November 20th in Denver, Colorado at the Oriental Theater, and then the full tour goes on with the CU Space Cowboy and Die Wish on November 23rd in Seattle, Washington at the El Corazon. And that will end on 12/18 in Toronto, Ontario at Danforth Music Hall. It will be making a stop here in Madison, Tennessee on 12/6 at the Eastside Bowl, which we will be visiting to see Machine Head. So,
yeah, that's going to be another new venue, I think, for the both of us, actually.
Yeah. I've never been there either. So.
That Machine Head show is going to be on December 9th. So 3 nights after that Counterpart show, Machine Head's going to be in town. So
I think if nothing else this year, we could probably do a segment on all the new venues we've seen this year. So.
We probably could.
Because we've been to the Signal, and we went to the Brooklyn Bowl. We've never been there. And the East Side Bowl, and then of course we've been to Knoxville. We're going to Knoxville next week, so we've never been there. So there's a lot of new venues we ventured in. So
and you did quite the review on the venue they had Blue Ridge at. So. Considering they went to another different place this year after being somewhere else last year. So I mean, we've talked about we've talked a bit about it. So
so hopefully, like they with that festival, they are keeping with the same venue next year. So hopefully they can map out whatever they can to get this thing. I think the biggest thing was they didn't have a stability before now. They were having it at different spots every year.
I think that's going to help.
I think that's what hurt them. I think being stable in one spot will help, because then they can kind of see, like, the mistakes you made this year, you can fix it next year because you're at the same spot.
Right.
Whether I'm not going to take a chance on going back there until they figure it all fucking out, because I'm not wasting my damn time waiting on shuttle buses for 4 hours and not doing it. So I show up there at 10 o'clock, the doors don't open until noon, and I'm still standing in line at 2:30. It's like, what the fuck?
Right. Yeah, that's beyond ridiculous. So yeah, I'm sure they've already got next year in the works. At least they better.
Well, like we talked about that last night with Vinny, with them being local there. Yeah, if I'm local there, I would probably go because I'm local. I don't have to stay in a hotel. I can get to my car, go home. You know what I mean? I drove 10 hours to this damn thing. I don't want to be, I got to wait to get to the venue. Then I got to wait to get to my car to go home, and then drive another 50 minutes to get to the fucking hotel. So, it winds up being just too much like work is what it is. Yeah, I'm there to have fun, and I feel like I'm working,
Yeah, you're spending so much time in the car. It almost doesn't. You're like, I don't even know if this was worth it. So.
Yeah, so I mean, by Sunday, and it was like one of the biggest days of bands that we like, Kill Switch and Nonpoint and Lamb of God, and Disturbed. All those were on Sunday, so it was like she was already like, you know what, fuck it, I don't even care if we go or not. I'm like, really? I'm like, this is like the biggest day. So, and it was the only day that we actually got there, and we probably stood in line. By the time we got in line that day to the venue was only like an hour and 20 minutes, which, that should be like that every day. It should have been like that just one day. I mean, of course, a lot of people had left because of work on Monday, but still.
But
get your shit together.
But I can see why, she was kind of feeling like that. Cause I mean, after going through all the other shit, she was probably just like, man, I'm just over this, so.
Yeah, it was just, it was just bullshit, and we were just over it. It's like, we spent all of last year dealing with the same shit, and then you change management and thinking, I think, oh well, let's change the management. Hopefully, they know what they're doing. They'll figure it out. No, they don't. So nobody knows what they're doing. So
right.
But I mean, the city gives to be fair to them too. The city does give them a lot of shit though too. So I mean, it's kind of it's not. It is on them, but it's not. You know what I mean? It's like you knew they were giving you shit, so you should have just went ahead and found some different way of doing things. It wasn't like this came up overnight. You already knew all this was going on.
True. So, very true.
And you had a year, like you already selling tickets for next year's festival. So if you go to next year and it's not figured out and you're already selling tickets to you need to just fuck off and jump off the edge of the earth somewhere, man. Goddamn. It's just stupid, man. It's like, why would you go and sell tickets a year in advance and then still have people unhappy when they the first day of the fucking festival? It's like, I've been to different ones, so and I will say that's probably the worst organized one I've been to.
Yeah.
Like stacked fucking talent. Don't get me wrong, stacked fucking bands. Like one of the most stacked bands I've ever been to. But yeah, it's not it doesn't weigh out evenly. Put it that way.
Yeah. So yeah, hopefully they'll get it in gear. But let's see. All right, as far as my contribution to hitting the road this week, starting off at the PRP like normal. Ministry has canceled their European and UK tour and their Damnation Festival appearance due to quote unquote previously unforeseen circumstances, and they didn't go into any details about that. So I don't know if it's money or what.
Transportation, I bet.
Probably it might be. And then Greg Puciato of Dillinger Escape Plan and the Black Queen is to play his first live solo show at Don Quixote in Los Angeles on November 11th with Gost and Trace Amount. Then Bad Wolves have announced a UK headlining tour and then a separate tour with Volbeat and Skindred. The headlining tour takes place from December 11th to 12th in the United Kingdom, starting off at Manchester, UK at the Academy 3, finishing in Glasgow at the Cat House. And then they will be with Volbeat and Skindred starting October 17th in Hamburg, Germany at Barclays Arena, finishing November 28th in Arnhem, Netherlands at the Gelladome. We have Sleeping with Sirens and True North going out in October, starting October 11th in Nashville, Tennessee at the Exit Inn, finishing October 28th in Fresno, California at Strummers. Then Dance Gavin Dance have rescheduled their UK tour dates, this time with Caskets and Idola occupying the supporting slots. The tour has been rescheduled for January 10th of 2023, starting out in Southampton, UK at the Engine Room, finishing on January 18th of 2023 in Glasgow at Garage. We have City of Caterpillar and Soul Glow going out starting September 20. I did it again. September 29th in Washington, D.C. at Black Cat. So that tour actually starts this week, and it'll finish November 19th in Columbus, Ohio at the Big Room Bar. They will be in Nashville Halloween night, October 31st at Dark Matter. That's one venue that we haven't been to yet.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. Then the When We Were Hungry Fest has officially been canceled amid, of course, unforeseen circumstances that they didn't go into detail.
Not
we have Drowning
Pool.
Probably not. I know. When We Were Hungry. I know. Drowning Pool. Jesus. You might be right. I mean, you have to feed everybody. Yeah. Drowning Pool, otherwise, Kurt Dimer, Tala, and Anti-Saint are going out in November, starting November 4th in Colorado Springs, Colorado at Sunshine Studios, finishing November 19th in Cedar Park, Texas at the Hote Spot. No Nashville date on that tour. And then, as we talked about just a little bit ago, the Night Flight Orchestra is going on a European and UK tour, starting November 10th in London at the Dome, finishing November 20th in Bratislava, Slovenia at Randall Club. Then we have I Am, Body Box, and Rhythm of Fear going out in November, starting November 3rd in Corpus Christi, Texas at Boozers, finishing November 18th in Tulsa, Oklahoma at Act Like You Know Fest. There is a Nashville date. They will be in Nashville November 14th at The End. Then Ignite and Berthold City are going on a European tour starting October 26th in Berlin, Germany at SO36, finishing November 2nd in Saarbrücken, Germany at Garage. So a quick 1 week journey at the end of October. Then Avatar is going on a UK and European tour in 2023. They will be with Veil of Maya and Mastiff starting February 18th, 2023 in Manchester, UK at Academy, finishing February 25th, 23 in London at the O2 Forum, Kentish Town. Then they will be with Male of Vaya and Casagtha starting March 10th in Paris, France at L'Olympia, finishing... Huh?
Wait, I thought you were done. Sorry, man.
No, finishing March 31st in Karlsruhe, Germany at Substage. Then,
so they had me sold at Veil of Maya and Avatar. So
yeah, I'm telling you. Yeah. Then we move over to blabbermouth.net for a couple. Jeff Tate is going on a tour in December. He's going to starting December 1st in Cleveland, Ohio at the Brockland Ballroom and Tavern, finishing December 21st in Salt Lake City, Utah at Depot. And then again, as we talked about earlier in the show, the Steel Panther has got their Claws and Paws Holiday Party Tour starting November 26th in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan at Keewatin Casino, finishing December 30th in Vancouver, BC at the Commodore Ballroom. They will not be in Nashville on that tour. So that is going to be hitting the road from the 17th to the 23rd.
Oh, cool. Still got a lot of tours happening before the end of the year, so that's kind of odd.
Yeah, and it's weird that there's actually tour dates happening like so close to Thanksgiving and so close to Christmas. I figure they would be wanting to be like, all right, we're gonna take a little bit of a break and head to the house. But no, some of these tours are either starting or ending really, really close to some of these major holidays here in the United States.
Crazy.
Yeah.
All right, I guess we would talk a little bit. Oh, I wanted to. For some reason, I just thought about it because I seen a headline where Chad Kruger, it's Kruger, by the way, was yes, Kruger, just like Freddy Krueger. He actually come out.
I didn't know that.
Well, nobody did, obviously, because he's like, he was talking about like in interviews or whatever. There was never enough time to correct any interviewers before he went out, so he just let him. He's like, man, it's whatever. It's just a name, whatever.
It's kind of the same thing. I don't correct anybody on my last name anymore either.
Yeah. And like to me, like when I met you, it was like I met you through another friend that introduced you that way. So I never knew until you told me one day. I was like, really? It's Toronto? I'm like, oh, well, I'll call you Toronto if that's what you want to do.
Yeah. It doesn't. I mean, it doesn't. It used to piss my sister off, but it doesn't bother me anymore.
But yeah, I seen where talking about Chad Kruger, but I still thought that was kind of wild. I was like, wow, that's Kruger, but Canadians.
Yeah, it is. There you go.
They don't spell Terrence or Philip right, so. I mean.
It's true.
But anyway, I was kind of curious. I said, for them to get so much hate, I said, I wonder what their new single has already been tracked on listens as far as Spotify. They're already up to 3.7 million listens already, and it just came out September 7th. So, yeah.
God damn, 2 weeks.
Yeah, yeah. They're hated an awful lot, obviously. So,
yeah. I actually still hadn't heard it yet. I don't. So
it's actually pretty decent for a Nickelback. I'm just like, wow.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's actually. I was like, man, that's pretty hard hitting for Nickelback. So,
I'll check it out.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. Like I'm not gonna hold my breath and think, oh, I'm gonna get 10 songs just like that on an album. I doubt that's gonna happen.
Oh, I guarantee you, Nickelback is going to throw one or two ballads in there. I guarantee.
Oh well, yeah. Well, I mean, like we were talking to Ashes Rain last night. They have a ballad on their album, and I thought it was great. So I mean,
yeah.
Nothing wrong with a ballad. But,
no, nothing wrong with it.
Yeah. Unless you're just like oversaturating your music with it, then
right.
That's a little bit different. But
like
I don't know how many ballads I've ever heard Testament do besides Return to Serenity, but
not many.
So yeah, and of course Anthrax is the same way. After Black Lodge, of course that was Joey Belladonna wasn't there, so there you go.
Well, I would say technically Safe Home is a ballad. So
yeah, I guess so, but I'm saying you just don't hear those often from those type of bands.
No, you don't.
And that's cool because I think you should do them every once in a while, but like not every album. I mean, this isn't like this isn't 1984 where you're trying to get the girl with shit.
Right? Yeah, yeah, that's true.
It's
true.
Here, I'm gonna play this. Every Rose Has a Storm. Just pretend I'm Bret Michaels, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, this week in metal history, not a whole lot going on, but I got a little bit here. So, September 18th, 1983, Kiss appeared without their makeup for the first time during an interview on MTV promoting the release of their newest album, Lick It Up. So that was a big deal back then because nobody ever seen Kiss without makeup. So, and September 19th of 2020, Ozzy Osbourne's former drummer Lee Kerslake died at age 73 from prostate cancer. He's best known for his performances on the Black Sabbath frontman's critically acclaimed debut album, Blizzard of Oz, and was also the drummer in Uriah Heep, appearing on their 1972 album, Demons and Wizards, and 9 studio records, as well as a live album with the band before departing in 78. And then September 22nd, 1992, Def Leppard were forced to cancel 2 U.S. shows after their sound equipment truck was found abandoned after one of the band's drivers had attempted to rob a store. The driver was later charged of possessing drugs and criminal damage. Like I said, people, man, it's like,
yep.
September 23rd, 2004, Slipknot's Corey Taylor issued a statement denying he was dead. I mean, nothing kills a rumor like the person saying they're dead to come back and say they're not.
Yeah. And I saw him on Tuesday. He's still around.
Yeah, he's still around. Yeah. Rumor started after a shot jock in Des Moines, Iowa, broadcast the announcement that the singer had died of a drug overdose, which then became a fatal car crash, and so on. But
Jesus.
Yeah, I wonder if that guy's even got a fucking job anymore doing stupid shit.
I hope
like
not.
That. Yeah, that's the whole problem with news. Is like half of it ain't fucking truthful. So anymore, so you don't know what to believe anymore. So
yeah, I know.
So September 23rd, 2016, according to the Music Business Association, playlists were now a more popular way to listen to music than albums. The report said playlists accounted for 31% of listening time across all demographics, while albums lagged behind at 22%. But single tracks remained the dominant format, according to the study, accounting for 46% of music played. So there you go. That's all
We've got plenty of playlists for you guys to listen to. So
yeah, right, yeah. So yeah, jack that number on up for us.
Hell yeah, man.
Well, mainly we put it out there so you guys can catch on to maybe catch on to some new music, new bands, whatnot. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
I've actually became fans of some new stuff doing the album reviews. I mean,
same.
We do those of bands we're not very familiar with sometimes. So.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely helped us. All right. So this week in metal history, from the 18th to the 24th, brought to you by This Day in Metal and Dr. Feelgood and Ms. Hyde on Twitter and Facebook, respectively. Check out those websites. Starting out September 18th, 2020, we have Fintroll releases their 7th studio album, Vredesvavd. I don't know what language that's supposed to be in. And Ace Frehley releases his 9th solo studio album, Origins Volume 2.
That was Minion language, man.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I think it means banana. It's the only thing I know. It's the only thing I know about the Minions. September 18th, 2000. And you probably know more about the Minions than I do at this point with Venus watching all those movies. But September 18th, 2009, Sonata Arctica releases their 6th studio album, The Days of Grays. September 18th, 2007, Got Hard releases their 8th studio album, Domino Effect. September 18th, 1978, Ace Frehley releases his self-titled debut solo album, peaked at number 26 on the Billboard 200. September 18th, 1983, Kiss releases the aforementioned 11th studio album, Lick It Up. September 18th, 2015, Metal Allegiance releases their self-titled debut studio album. And September 18th, 2012, Devin Townsend releases his 5th studio album, Epic Loud. Moving ahead to the 19th, September 19th, 1997, Dream Theater releases their 4th studio album, Falling Into Infinity. And September 19th, 1988, Bon Jovi releases their 4th studio album, New Jersey. And then not long after that, they started to fall off the metal train, did Bon Jovi.
Yeah, right. Yeah. They jumped off that motherfucker.
Yeah. So Bon Jovi, New Jersey is probably about as far as my fandom went with New Jersey or with Bon Jovi.
Exactly.
So after that,
pop rock.
Yeah, it did. Moving ahead to the 20th, September 20th, 2004, Doro releases her 9th solo studio album, Classic Diamonds, and Saxon releases their 16th studio album, Lionheart. And September 20th, 2019, As I Lay Dying releases their 7th studio album, Shaped by Fire. Moving ahead, September 21st, 2007, Arch Enemy releases their 7th studio album, Rise of the Tyrant. And September 21st, 2018, Hardcore Superstar releases their 11th studio album, You Can't Kill My Rock and Roll. September 21st, 2012, Magnum releases their 17th studio album, On the 13th Day. September 21st, 1995, Voivod releases their 8th studio album, Negatron. And September 21st, 1999, Nine Inch Nails released their 3rd studio album, The Fragile, which debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200. Is she still awake, or did she ever go to sleep? Yeah, I hear her out there again.
Oh, yeah. I can't even hear it, so I don't know.
Yeah. Moving ahead to the, well, I know she made an appearance at the end of our interview last night. So I wondered if she ever actually went to bed.
Yeah, if y'all missed that, she actually collaborated on a song with Vinny. So
yeah, she did. She did actually.
It was actually funny.
It was a very short duet, but yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moving ahead, September 22nd, 2017, Elegy of Madness releases their third studio album, New Era. September 22nd, 2008, TNT releases their eighth studio album, Atlantis. September 24th, 2004, Europe releases their sixth studio album, Start from the Dark. September 22nd, 1995, Sabotage releases their ninth studio album, Dead Winter Dead. September 22nd, 1998, Kiss releases their 18th studio album, Psycho Circus, which debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200. And September 22nd, 2009, Five Finger Death Punch releases their second studio album, War is the Answer. Moving ahead, September 23rd, 2002, Lacuna Coil releases their third studio album, Comalies, which peaked at number 178 on the Billboard 200. Yngwie Malmsteen releases his 14th studio album, Attack. And Cataclysm releases their sixth studio album, Shadows and Dust. September 23rd, 1991, Europe releases their fifth studio album, Prisoners in Paradise. September 23rd, 1996, Dio releases their seventh studio album, Angry Machines. And September 23rd, 2016, Airborne releases their fourth studio album, Breaking Out of Hell. Moving ahead to today's date, September 24th, 2010, Dimmu Borgir releases their ninth studio album, Abrahadabra, and Secret Sphere releases their sixth studio album, Archetype. So those are the historical releases from the 18th through the 24th. And if I find any more for today's date, those will lead off next week's segment.
It's kind of funny because she was even in the bed after we went to bed last night, and she was still, yeah, baby. I'm like, I was like, man, you just full of shit tonight. Like, all right. So we did into our top 10 songs of the week segments here on our topic. We decided last week, I mentioned suicide awareness because this is Suicide Awareness Month. And of course, with I guess it kind of fits what we're talking about Mike Howe and, that kind of thing. And we know, like, all the way back to Kurt Cobain. I mean, there's a lot of suicide and, Chris Cornell and Chester Bennington and just with music in general. But I mean, and not just musicians. There's this going on every day out there, and we want people to know there's people out there to help you if you're feeling like there's no other answer and there's no other option. So we put those Suicide and Crisis Lifeline up there for you. You can dial 988-24/7 and get to somebody that can talk with you and try to talk you through things. And it's sad. I mean, I think a lot of people just feel like there's nobody there for them. Right. I see people on my timeline a lot, and I've actually took time out of my day and talked to people. I say, hey, give me your number, dude. Just there's other options. Don't be stupid. Life's too valuable, man. It's we all get into bad parts in life, but we just have to power through and overcome it, man. There's greener grass on the other side of it. You just got to believe that. So so we decided. I mean, like I said, we just want to make sure everybody out there knows that there's help. So
absolutely. There's always help out there. So like you say, dial 988, whenever you feel like you may need it, there are people out there you can talk to. So
yeah. Even if you're on Clinton's bad side, you can still dial it. I'm just kidding.
Well,
but maybe not. But anyway, you might have to dial a different number for that one. So
you might have to. Yeah.
Anyway, our top 10 metal songs for suicide awareness. I know I really don't mean to make light of the subject, but.
Oh, I mean, we're it is a serious subject. So I mean, when we do know that, but it's like we're not making fun of anybody who commits suicide, of course, but we're still able to find humor in pretty much anything. Not to take away from it, of course.
Well, I mean, that's the comedic world nowadays. It's you can always find something in there.
Well, even Daniel Tosh said at one point, he's like, you can make a joke about anything, So
Well, yeah, I mean, it may not be appropriate, but you can.
Yeah, you absolutely.
Anyway, my contributions this week, I think I only did 11, but I could have added more, but I just kind of ran out of time getting prepped for the interview last night. So
I ended up with 13. So
okay, so we'll if we don't get to 20, I'll make it work. So
yeah.
I'm sure we're probably going to have at least one or two overlaps.
I guarantee you we'll have some overlaps. Yeah.
So my first one was probably an overlap. Ozzy Osbourne's Suicide Solution from the Blizzard of Oz 1980. Then I took Pantera Suicide Note Part 1 from the Great Southern Trendkill 1996. And one of my I think one of my most go-to videos when we talk about this is from this song. It's Disturbed Inside the Fire from Indestructible 2008. And I think that is a very powerful video. And if anybody hasn't seen that, check that out. That's a pretty, like I said, pretty powerful video. Definitely touches on the subject pretty well, I think. So then I took Black Label Society, Suicide Messiah from Mafia 2005. Then I took Five Finger Death Punch, Coming Down from American Capitalist 2011. Went with kind of both ways, I guess, but Suicide Silence, You Only Live Once from the Black Crown of 2012. Then I put Slipknot, Everything Ends from Iowa 2001. Then I took Papa Roach's Last Resort from Infest of 2001. Korn, Falling Away From Me from Issues in 1999. Then I took Hatebreed, Looking Down the Barrel of Today from the Concrete Confessional 2016. And then last but not least, I took Bullet for My Valentine, Death by a Thousand Cuts from Bullet for My Valentine 2021. So that was all of mine for right now, I guess. I'm sure I'm going to have to be adding some more, but
well, it's definitely a good thing that you had one extra and I had 3 because we actually had 4 overlaps. But that actually doesn't surprise me, especially speaking on the topic that we're talking about this week. So, and definitely not surprising at all. So, that being said, my contribution to our top 10 segment this week, leading off, I went with Mandatory Suicide by Slayer off of South of Heaven from 1988. I also went with Suicide Solution by Ozzy from Blizzard of Oz from 1980. I also went with Inside the Fire by Disturbed from Indestructible 2008. Then I went with Fade to Black by Metallica off of Ride the Lightning from 1984. I also went with Suicide Note Part 1 by Pantera off the Great Southern Trendkill. I actually went with both of them. I had Suicide Note Part 1 and Part 2. Then I went with A Tout le Monde by Megadeth off of Euthanasia from 1994. I went with Excuse Me While I Kill Myself by Sentenced off the Cold White Light from 2002. And I also had Everything Ends by Slipknot off of Iowa from 2001. Then my 10th one was Swan Dive Suicide by Hail the Villain from Population Declining from 2010. Then my messed up subject, but good song. Then my my honorable mentions, quote unquote. That's how I always have them. That's how I always have them written down. I went with Religious Suicide by Onslaught off of Generation Antichrist from 2020. I went with Fuel Injected Suicide Machine from Fear Factory off Aggression Continuum from last year. And then I went with Skin of My Teeth by Megadeth from Countdown to Extinction from 1992. So,
pretty good playlist there. So
pretty good playlist. Like I say, even though it's not a subject we really want to think about too much, but it does happen.
But I think it's reality, and it's songs that the metal community relates to from I'm pretty sure that everybody in one of these bands have either thought about it or had somebody in their life do it. So I mean, I'm pretty sure that's why they write some of these songs. It's because it's personal to them. So unfortunately, like I said, some people don't think there's another way out, but believe me, there is. There's ways around and ways to get back on track and live your life. So please don't hesitate to reach out. Like I said, Suicide Crisis Lifelines, you just dial 988. three little numbers there. 988.
Yeah.
Get somebody. So.
Yeah, there's always someone to talk to. So, you know, if you or anyone you know needs help, then 988. There you go. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
All right. All right. So I guess we will kick over into some album reviews.
Absolutely.
I got 2 in this week. I'm not the second one. I didn't do like a full review on, but I will go over a little bit of it. The first one that I did was Living Wreckage. There was a self-titled debut album, Living Wreckage. They're a new metal powerhouse band from East Hampton, Massachusetts. East Hampton, son. I'm just
East side of
comprised of
Hampton.
yeah. So this is like I didn't know the members. I didn't know the members personally or didn't know any of their background until I read this, and then I'd already had my words out to what I thought about the album. So to keep that in mind when I tell you like who's in it and the bands they were in, and then my reviews, it kind of makes sense once I read it. I'm like, oh well, I guess it kind of makes sense. My review kind of makes sense then. But
okay.
But
you were telling me about this. Okay, so I'm interested.
So let me get last week's pulled up real quick so we can put that out there too. So
okay,
before I get carried away with the last week was Water, right?
Yes. Yes, it was.
Should make sure I share that. So don't want to leave nothing, no stone unturned, as they say.
There you go.
So anyway, the Living Wreckage, they are comprised of vocalist Jeff Gard from Death Ray Vision. That's the old band he was in. Guitarist John Dene from Anthrax and Shadows Fall. Matt LeBreton from Downpour. Bassist Matt Bashand from Shadows Fall and Active Defiance. And drummer John Morency from Let Us Pray. So you got a couple of Shadows Fall guys in there. So
yeah,
you can imagine what this sounds like. So
what you mean good?
Yeah, it was surprisingly good to me. So like I went in blind, didn't know anything about this band or anything until I like I said, until I started doing the actual research on the band. I didn't know the members or anything. I just kind of picked this album blindly. So actually, I kind of picked it based on the single that was out, but other than that, it was blindly. But they were formed in 2021, so they are very, very new. The vocals are I said it was a mix of kind of like Joey Belladonna and M Shadows. So with me saying like Anthrax vibe in there, so I guess that kind of makes sense. And man, there were some great guitar solos in this. Man, like very lengthy ones. I thought was really good. I was like, man, this has been going on for a minute. So, but I didn't have a problem with it though. It was good.
Yeah, no, nothing wrong with that.
And it kind of made sense too when I said that it kind of was like metalcore meets old school metal. So if you kind of think about it, you got Shadows Fall and Anthrax kind of vibes in there. So it kind of would make sense. And it's like I honestly think, don't get me wrong, I honestly think there was a little bit of everything for different genres of metal for metalheads. So if you're into the metalcore, or you're into old school metal, or maybe some other stuff, not so much death metal, but pretty much everything else is kind of could fit in here, I think. So, man, to me, like I said, I was really surprised on how good it was. It's like I didn't go in thinking I was going to think this highly of this album, but it's an easy 4-horn for me. And honestly, I could probably go 4.5. I mean, if I really wanted to be honest with it, but it's an easy 4-horn. So definitely worth checking out. So,
all right. So what band was that again?
Living Wreckage.
Living Wreckage. Okay. All right. Cool. I'm gonna check that out.
And then I checked out the new Venom Inc. There's Only Black. If you don't know much about Venom Inc., they were formed in 2015. They're from Newcastle upon Tyne and Wear, England. The band initially reunited the core lineup of Venom's Prime Evil album and subsequent era. So it's pretty much the Venom but not Venom, I guess. But so
Right.
the early Venom, I guess. But anyways, the members right now are Demolition Man on bass and vocals, Mantis on guitars, and War Machine on drums. Of course, they that's their names. They don't have their real names on there. So this is the band's second full length album. I think if you're a fan of the old school Venom, it's going to fit right in with that. Of course, like I said, I didn't do a full review on it because I wasn't planning on, but I wanted to make sure everybody knew that it was, who Venom Inc. was. It wasn't like it's not nothing like new, but it's new. It's kind of new, but new. But this one's definitely worth listening to. I mean, it's definitely a good four horn album, easy too. So definitely worth the listen. Like I'm these two albums are actually probably on my buy list now. So
nice. Living Records, Venom Inc. All right, that's cool. Well, I only got all the way through the one album. I spent, of course, these albums come out on Friday, so I mean they've only been out a day, so. But so in addition to listening to my album for the review, I was doing a couple refresher listens to the new Ashes Rain last night. So, but my album review is the new album Court of the Tyrant King by Evermore. They are a power metal band. They were formed in Karlskrona, Sweden. I'm not exactly sure what year because their page on Encyclopedia Metallum is a little sparse. It's not filled in quite as detailed as a lot of the other ones. So they were formed in Sweden. I'm not sure what year, but this is their debut LP. So this is their debut album. They are currently a 3-piece. They consist of Andreas Weiklund on drums and backing vocals, Johan Carlson on guitars, bass, piano, and orchestrations. So he's an octopus. So he's doing all that. And then we've got Johan Haraldsson on vocals. Like I say, this is their debut album. It's 8 tracks long, 39 minutes and 50 seconds. It's technically 7 tracks long and 38 minutes and 52 seconds if you take out the instrumental intro. But that's neither here nor there. So everybody who's ever listened to the show, and Jason, you know this obviously, but by now I'm a power metal guy. So I didn't know that about this band because, again, I'd never heard them before, obviously with them being their debut LP. But this was after I can't even remember what album I was going to initially review. But when I told you what album I was going to review, you were just like, good luck. And I was like, oh, fuck. So I decided to kind of abandon that and kind of look for something else. And, the name of the band kind of caught my eye. So that was actually the reason why I picked it. I had no idea they were a power metal band. It just turned out that way. Having said that, I'm not a fan of vibrato. It can be done well, but when you abuse it, to me, it becomes a detriment and a distraction. And that was actually kind of what happened with this album for me. Johan Haraldsson, he's got a great voice. He really does. He's got that prototypical Swedish power metal voice. I mean, he can belt it out, he can hit the notes, but he relies way too much, in my opinion, on vibrato, and that ended up being all I could focus on. So that was a little bit of a distraction for me. Now, Johan Carlson, on the other hand, is fucking phenomenal guitar player. If this current band doesn't, whatever happens with this current band, I actually hope the band does make it. This album has a lot of potential to be really good. I think if Johan Haraldsson kind of cleans up his vocal, he sings nothing but clean vocals anyway. So when I say if he cleans up his vocals, if he starts to kind of, get rid of relying on the vibrato so much, for me, if he just holds the note solid a little more often instead of relying on vibrato so much, I think that'll help. But if this band doesn't make it, if Johan Carlson doesn't end up in another fucking power metal band or a thrash metal band, something is wrong, because this guy is out of his fucking mind. And I mean that in the best way possible. This guy is an amazing guitar player, and the guitars are by far the best thing on this album. Some of the drums, I'll admit, got a little boring. There's still a lot of double bass like I like, but a lot of the drum lines were pretty basic. So I was disappointed a little bit as far as that goes. That being said, I can't play the drums, but I'm also not in the band. But I kind of expect a little more. I kind of expect a little bit more complexity when I'm listening to like power metal and stuff like that, because I kind of expect it. So not that the drum lines weren't good, but there wasn't enough diversity and complexity in the drum lines for my taste. By far, like I say, the best thing about this album was Johan Carlson's guitar playing. That guy is a madman. So, if anybody wants if anybody is, a power metal fan like I am, I would give this album a listen just because of the guitar playing. The guy's out of his mind. But the other aspects of the album, I'm going to give this 3 out of 5. I liked it. I wanted to like it more. And like I said, I think this band has got potential if there's, if they kind of, do tweak a couple of things. Because like I say, Johan Carlson, he can hit all the notes. He doesn't have any issues with range. He just has to clean up that vibrato and, focus a little more on complexity in the drum lines, and I think they'll be fine. Johan Carlson, don't change a thing. Keep playing the way you're playing. So yeah, I'm going to give this one 3 out of 5. The only other thing that I started listening to the new Stradivarius this morning, because I'm very, very familiar with Stradivarius. They're a power metal band out of Finland. And so I started listening to that. I'm only a couple of songs in. So far, I like what I've heard, and I kind of figured I would. So I'll probably finish that album in the next day or two, and then move on to a couple of the ones that you were telling me about. I'm really interested in that Living Wreckage for sure. But that's all I've got as far as the album reviews for this week. But other than that, as a follow-up, everybody go out and take 21 minutes and 21 seconds to listen to the new Ashes Rain LP, or EP rather.
Yeah. They're working on a full length, so
yeah. But yeah, go check those guys out over at ashesrain.com and all their socials and all that good stuff. So,
and he hinted last night that they're going to do a cover, and it's going to be heavy. So we don't know what it is, but
yep. Supposedly they are working on a single that they will be releasing next month.
Yeah, definitely got me intrigued. That's for sure. So
yeah.
All right. So what do we got to look for? Well, I know at least one album we're looking forward to next week, right? So
yep, probably the one we're looking forward to the most. But as far as the overall list, we have, starting off for September 30th, this coming Friday, we have A Casual Intrusion with Seeping Evocation. We have Acephalix with Theothantology. We have Alice Cooper with Live from the AstroTurf. All Else Fails with The Incident at Black Lake. That is an EP. We have Amorot with To Tread the Ancient Waters. We have Ang Madness with The Weight of Eternity. We have Arctura with The Storm is Over. Arcath with Clarity Came with a Cool Summer's Breeze. We have Aura with Underwater. We have Autophagy with Bacteriophage. Autopsy with Morbidity Triumphant. Behind Your Fear with Anthropocene. Bjorn Reese with A Fleeting Glimpse. That's an EP. We have Blitzkrieg with Complete Recordings Volume 1, 1980 to 1988. We have Brothog with Epicinium. We have Canaan Dawn with Lagu. Ceaseless Torment with Victory or Death. City of Caterpillar with Mystic Sisters. We just talked about them going out on tour earlier in the show. We have Cruise with Confines de la Cordura. Darkest Era with Wither on the Vine. Dark Forest with Ridge and Furrow. That is an EP. The Dead Daisies with Radiance. Deadly Vipers with Low City Drone. December Noir with Pale Serenades. That is an EP. We have Destillat with Under Black Horizons. DeVille with Heavy Lies the Crown. Devourer with Diablos Brigade. Diamond Head with Lightning to the Nations. That's obviously a re-release. We have Diabolical Raw with Elegy of Fire Dusk. Drowning Pool with Strike a Nerve. So, hey, there's another one that might be worth checking out. how am I gonna fucking say this? We have Elende with Ellenbogen Gellenschaft. Okay, that was easier to pronounce than I thought. But look at this word right here. If I can look at it. Ellenbogen Gesselschaft. Look at how long that word is. Look at that shit right there.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
I know. Look at that shit. God damn. Then we have Escuela Grind with Memory Theater, Eternal Hell Carax with Drown in Ash, Faust with Caesar Potobi, Furton with Martyr. Then we have Gingivectomy with Mouth Shattering Slamtist Purgatory. We have Gone Mage with Handheld Demise, Gut Saw with All Lives Splatter. I like that. All Lives Splatter.
All Lives Splatter, yeah.
I want to look that up just for the fucking cover art. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I almost bet you that's a death metal album, but
oh well, I bet it is, but I bet that cover art's going to be.
But we've talked about that though, man. Death metal has some of the best album covers. It's like,
I mean, just look at Cannibal Corpse, discography, and you'll know exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah, well, I mean, their album was in the top 10 last year, so I mean,
yeah. And then check this out. Check this band name out. I already love this. Air Corpse 1. I love that shit. Yeah. That's fantastic.
I'm actually following along with you on the site. So.
Yeah. Then we have Air Corpse 1 with Caribbean Frights. That's an EP. We have Hexed with Pagans Rising. Humans, etc. with Part of Being Human. Hunting Giants with Mythos. Huracan with We Are Very Happy. We have Hussar with All Consuming Hunger. Imaginarium with The Rise of Medici. Infection Code with Alea, Iacta, Esther. Internal Organs External, The Brutality of Tomorrow, Crankite with Gargantua, Labyrinth of Scars with Spectrum Xenomorph, Lindsay Schoolcraft with Rushing Through the Sky 10th Anniversary Edition, The Loom of Time, Grand False Caress, The Lord with Devotional, Lord of Confusion with Evil Mystery, Lost Society with If the Sky Came Down, Mama Leak.
Checking that one out. So.
Yeah. Mama Leak with Diner Coffee, Manic Abraxas with Foreign Winds, Mullen with El Miedo de Amar, Moon Duo with Live at Levitation, Mythic Sunship with Light/Flux. I don't know if that's a split album or not. I'm not exactly sure. Usually it says if it is.
Yeah, it doesn't say it. So.
Yeah, it doesn't say, so I'm not sure. Then we have Ne'er-Do-Well with Fun Days. That's an EP. We have Nestor with Kids in a Ghost Town. That's a re-release. We have Oaks with Genesis of the Abstract. Orm with Intet Altet. We have Pest Legion with Satanus Grand Victoria. Power from Hell with Shadows of Devouring Light. Psychic Ills with Live at Levitation. Rage with Spreading the Plague. That's an EP. Oh, shit. Oh. New Rage.
Yeah.
Oh, look out. Then we have Raven with Leave 'em Bleeding. We have Regulate with Regulate. Yeah, New Raven, New Rage. Oh, shit. We have Regulate with a self-titled album. We have Ryan Kent with Dying Comes with Age. We have Sacrilegia with Sold Under Sin. That's an EP. Scarlet Dawn with Queen of Broken Dreams. Skeletor with Blood Empire. That's an EP.
Oh, we got a list of that, man.
I know. I'm telling you. Yeah, I bet the cover art's going to be awesome on that one too. And then Silent Lie with Equilibrium. Slipknot with The End So Far. Sonata Arctica with Acoustic Adventures Volume 2. Sonic Flower with Me and My Bell Bottom Blues. Soul Dissolution with Sora. Spectrum Mortis with Bit Messeri, The Incantation. Stake with Love, Death, and Decay. Stormland with The Human Cost. Stramonium with Elder Moon. Stranglewire with Shaped by Human Frailty. Strigoi with Viscera. Sinse Sase Tri with Ultimo Lup. Tankard with Pavlov's Dogs. Oh, God. New Tankard? Really? Tattered the Wall with Shedding. I'm not going to have time to listen to all this shit in one day.
There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, there is. Tattered the Wall with Shedding Season. Tension Span with The Future Died Yesterday. Terra with Furdik Existert das Alles nicht. That's in German, so if I messed that up, I'm sorry. We have Tulsa Doom with The Fate Worse Than Death. Trauma with Awakening.
That's wrong. That's already out.
I was about to say that just came out, didn't it? Which is good, by the way.
Yeah,
which is really good.
2 weeks ago. So yeah.
Yeah. So that new Trauma album, Awakening, you should listen to that one. It's good. Trembling Void with The Burning Question. Tyrant with The Lowest Level. Umbilicus with Path of a Thousand Suns. Unhuman Disease with Into Satan's Kingdom. That's a re-release. Vardan with No Exit from the Forest. Then various artists, Monuments to Arson, a tribute to His Hero Is Gone, Vermocracy with Age of Dysphoria, Vicious Rumors with The Atlantic Years, Void Oath with Ascension Beyond Cocytus, Wizard with Space, issue number 001, and last but not least, Wolf Council with Initivum. Yeah. Maybe that's one of those instances where that's supposed to be a U. Maybe it's Initium.
I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe it's Initium. So, but regardless, that is quite the list. That's one of the longer lists I've read so far from this website. But those are the releases coming out on September 30th. Which, man, there's like 5 or 6 albums on this list I want to listen to.
Yeah, same. I'm just like, I want to hear.
I don't know how I'm going to get through all of those.
I've been following the Lost Society for their, the last couple singles for this album, so I'm definitely going to check that out. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of stuff in there.
There is a lot of stuff on here.
Yeah, a lot of stuff for death metal fans still too.
Mm-hmm.
The Autopsy album, and so
Gutsaw.
Yeah, it's got to be. It's got to be. If it's not, I'm gonna be disappointed. Honestly.
Yeah. All lives splatter. I love that shit. I love it.
Yeah,
I love that. I love that album title. God, that's so good. Hang on a second. I want to see real quick if they've even
got an album art for it.
Yeah, I want to know what the album, because obviously I can't listen to it yet, but I want to know what the album is gonna look like. That
Drowning Pool will be a little interesting since it'll be with a new singer, right?
It will.
I think he's the first. This is the first one he's done. I could be wrong, but
yeah. Let's see. What am I looking for here? Well, let's see if they're over at Encyclopedia Metallum. Let's see if they are. Google's not showing me much. Of course, it may just not be out yet.
Could be. Yeah.
Let's see. Gutsaw. They are a death metal band. All Lives Splatter. Oh my Lord. Holy shit, this is awesome. Hang on a second. This is badass, this album art. Holy shit. I don't know if I'm going to listen to this album, but this album art is fucking phenomenal. Which I had a feeling. Holy shit.
So when I do these, I go through the list and I write album art beside it, just because even if I don't like it or listen to it, I always want to put it into my viewing for the album, because we do an album art of the year too for the end of the year. So or some of the best album covers. We don't really count them down, but we do, some of the
just some of the ones. Yeah, just some of the ones we really liked. Okay, hang on a second. I got it. I don't know how to share an actual. All right, hang on a second. I want to share this because you guys have got to see this. This is ridiculous.
Seemed like you could just snip it and then post it in between.
I did take a snippet of it. I'm gonna see if I can share my screen here. Share screen. Window. There it is. Look at this thing.
Holy shit. That's a lot going on, man.
Hang on a second. Let me I'll get rid of the banner here for just a second. Look at that album cover.
Wow, that is crazy.
That is badass. That is so good. Oh man, it's just as good. It's just as good as I was. Actually, it's better than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be badass. That is an amazing album cover. Holy shit, I love that. It's so good. Oh man, that is such a good album cover. But again, man, I don't think you can't mess with heavy metal for as far as cover art. You can't do it. Man, you can't do it. Yeah, they are, not to jump too far ahead, but they are a death metal band out of Corona, California. This will actually be their second full-length album. They've been around since 2003. Lyrical themes include necrophilia, cannibalism, murder, and hate.
I was looking up that about Drowning Pool. Actually, Jason Marino was on the Brazilians album in 2013, so it won't be his first. So
okay.
So it's still kind of interesting because I haven't followed them since Ryan was his name Ryan from Soil? I want to say that's right. Yeah, Ryan McCombs. Yeah. Since he left, of course, he went back to Soil, so which I like. I like Soil too. I just like Ryan McCombs got a good voice, but
right, yeah,
yeah. So it's kind of interesting to see. They went through so many vocalists. It's kind of like
they have.
It's almost like a who's who of music. But
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get a chance to bring this up. But did you see the headline where Chuck Billy and them was talking about they were kind of worried that Steve DiGiorgio was going to go to Megadeth?
Yeah, actually, I did see that, and I did read that article. They were because he did the bass parts for
right.
The new Megadeth after David Ellison got fired. So yeah, Chuck Billy was talking about how they were a little worried about how when he went to go record to redo the bass parts that he was going to stay.
Yeah,
but he also did say in the same story that if they would have invited him and if he would have accepted the invite, that he thought that he wouldn't have really lasted because he's too much of he wouldn't have put up with Dave Mustaine's shit, basically.
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, as big of a Megadeth fan as we are, we've all heard the stories of how much it kind of like a little bit of and he's confessed to being a control freak anyway. So, so yeah, Chuck Billy was Steve probably wouldn't have put up with that shit for too long.
I don't know. Dave's kind of grown, I think. I mean, you've seen some of the articles about where he talked about he didn't, he regretted ever punching James Hetfield. I mean, he's grown and he knows his mistakes. So
yeah,
maybe I don't know, but
yeah. But I did see that
it all worked out. It all worked out for the better for everybody. So.
Yeah, James Lomenzo's back playing bass.
Yeah.
Steve DiGiorgio is, still with Testament, and everybody's happy and putting out new music. So yeah, it worked. It definitely worked out for everybody. And hell, even David Ellison, he's got 2 or 3 projects he's doing right now. He's not in Megadeth, but he's not hurting either. So hell,
right. He's gonna get so many royalties anyways. I mean,
oh yeah, he's fine. He's okay. I still kind of wish they would have found a way to kind of work together, but hey, it is what it is at this point. So
I kind of wonder, since they won those awards, if he gets any kind of part of that, because I mean that was during his songwriting time with Megadeth. So
yeah, he will. As far as I know, he will. If he doesn't, he definitely should.
Well, yeah, he should get a plaque too. I mean,
yeah, he should.
Part of the band, so
yeah, he should definitely get a plaque.
I mean, I'm sure Dave's still making money off of Metallica songs. I mean,
as he should be. He absolutely should. Every time Kill 'Em All is sold, he should get part of it. He absolutely should.
Yeah. All right, gang. Well, I guess that will end it for this week. If you didn't catch the interview last night with Vinny Carrion from Ashes Rain, go check that out. You could catch it. They supposedly shared it on their site too, so you can probably catch it at their social medias. You can also catch it on our YouTube and Twitch and whatever you want to listen to it on. Unfortunately, we're not. We're pretty much everywhere but Spotify and Sirius. So. When Sirius gets serious, we'll be ready for him, I guess. But
that's true. That is true. And I still have a feeling that at some point, Spotify is gonna allow, live because Spotify doesn't allow live streaming.
I don't know if they don't allow it. I don't think it's that they don't allow it. I think you have to pay so much to do it. It's just which
we're not. If Spotify has that ability, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. We are in plenty other avenues to find us. We've got Twitch and YouTube. We've got VOP. We got all this.
I'd love to expand it. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not going to try to go broke doing it either. So it's
and speaking of going broke, trying to do this whole thing, as if you guys are watching us on, you guys are actually watching the show at the moment. I have posted the link to the GoFundMe once again. Like I've said before, we're trying to raise some money to kind of enhance the show. Hopefully, maybe upgrade some gear. Like I say, in 2023, we got a couple of open invites to travel to do some things. So we're trying to raise funds to be able to do that. If anybody wants to donate any money to the cause. You can find us at the link below if you want to go directly there, or if you search for Metalheads Unite, you will find us with the same, thumbnail that's up in the upper right hand corner of the screen that we use for everything. So thanks in advance to anybody who decides they do want to donate, whether it's a little or a lot. Regardless, it doesn't matter. Jason, you've gotten really good at pointing to that thing. He's gotten really good at that. So every little bit helps. That's right. Every little bit helps. So if anyone decides they want to donate to the fundraiser, we greatly appreciate it. So other than that, like Jason said, you can check out the show every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Central Time here in the United States on VOPUSARadio.com, the VOP USA mobile app, our Metalheads Unite YouTube channel, all of the other many live streaming platforms that are out there. And for those of you who have not joined yet, we did get a little bit of a membership bump over the last day or two, which has been nice. Yeah. So we're pushing 420 members, which is nice. I mean, we're definitely not the largest group, but that's fine. But if you want to join the Metalheads Unite Facebook group, again, same thumbnail over at Facebook, search Metalheads Unite, look for the thumbnail, and that will be us. So send us a member request.
I don't care about being the biggest. I just want to be the one with the best content. So
there you go. Yep. Quality over quantity. That's absolutely it. Yep. So, and we really do have some really good contributors over there too.
We do. Yeah. There's not any one. I mean, sometimes people just come out of them like, who in the hell is that posted? But I mean, whatever. It's like,
yeah, it's cool good, though. I mean,
and we got bands that are on there that promote their stuff. So
yes,
that's one of the things. That's one of the things we created it for too. So
we got
open promotion platform there. So
absolutely, yeah. So yeah, it's a pretty cool group. We try to keep it as updated as possible as two guys with full-time jobs can. So we do our best. But yeah, we got a lot of people who help out with contributing as far as like upcoming album releases, upcoming tours, So yeah, there's a lot of good stuff on there. So come on by and check it out. I know nobody believes me, but I am going to do a TikTok soon, I promise. But so we do have TikTok. We are Metalheads Unite USA at TikTok. We have the Metalheads Unite USA at gmail.com email address. I have a Spotify. I think Jason has an Instagram. We don't have anything show specific yet on those two platforms. That's something that's still in the works too. So
yeah, because I'm pretty sure I can link the page from Facebook to Instagram because my Facebook and Instagram are linked. So I'm sure I can do that. I just
so we are working on setting up more show specific social media platforms instead of worrying about just mine or Jason's in name only. So we're working on those, so we'll let you guys know when those are up and running. But there's plenty of places where you can find the Metalheads Unite podcast. So
all right, and hopefully something that I was wanting to do by end of next year is try to get a website going. So we'll see what happens with that. So
Yeah, there's still a lot of irons in the fire. Like I say, some people have reached out to us to ask us if we want to do stuff with them, and we so do. We still have aspirations of getting, a Headbangers Ball style video show, going for you guys so that we can all get together and listen to music together. I think that'll be something that I think everyone will enjoy. We do enjoy the news show and everything, but I think if we can complement the show with, actually getting to listen to music, I think it'll be all the better. So we have irons in the fire. We have aspirations and visions of stuff that we want to do and where we want to take the show. So we got big dreams.
Yeah. What's the Vince Vaughn thing in dodgeball? Well, I feel if I ever have any goals that I'm never disappointed. So
yeah, that's right. Yeah. But other than that,
if I don't set any goals, and if I never reach them, I'm never disappointed. So
that's right. Other than that, we will definitely get the playlist compiled as quickly as we can and get it posted. I know last week we did a good job. I think we had it
maybe not in record time, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So last week we actually had it compiled and posted like within like an hour and a half. I think that
For the show.
probably was record time. But yeah. So if anybody wants to check that playlist out over at Spotify, keep an eye out for that. As Jason always says, you guys can search Metalheads Unite on Spotify. Same thumbnail. I mean, we're using the same thumbnail for everything. So
plenty of playlists there. So.
Oh yeah, I mean weekly playlists that Jason puts together, the weekly top 10s that we collaborate on. I mean, there's tons of playlists to listen to for you guys. So check it out.
All right. That being said, we appreciate all of you that came by and listened. Didn't have a lot of comments today, but that's all right.
That's fine.
We don't expect that every week. So
yeah.
But we appreciate the ones that did come by and listen to us. And if anybody goes back and listens to it later on, we also appreciate that. Every listen counts. So
it absolutely does. Even the trolls, you fuckers count too.
Yeah, we appreciate you. So anyway, that being said, we will be right back here next week with a first ever concert review over Angelo Sapatritas. So
yes.
Kick in for that. So if you're not familiar with that band, check them out for sure. So
yes.
Until then,
yes, especially if you were a thrash fan like us, check out the Angelo Sapatrita album.
Yeah. So until then, we'll see you right back here next week. And until then, keep those devil horns held high and jump in that pit anytime you can. See you.
Have a great week, guys. Thank you.